Hey,
Unmuted, is she unmuted, do you know?
it didn't take long. Mary Ellen. Yep.
Unmuted.
Let me get to my, let me get one in here. I've got the behind. Okay. Let me look it up. I can see the pastor.
Yeah, I was on mute. You want me to unmute now?
No, you're good. You're live.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. At this time, I'll call to order the City of Joliet City Council meeting for December 21st, 2021. The Honorable Mayor Bob Oderkirk presiding. We will be led in prayer by Pastor Solomon Josie of the Crystal Lawns Church of the Nazarene. You'll find that at 2424 Caton Farm Road, right there in my district. I would personally thank the pastor for the Christmas card. Thank you. And he will lead us in the pledge when he's through with the prayer.
Mayor, excuse me, before we get started, I would ask with this Omicron variant raging through the city and the states to please wear your mask in this closed area room. Please, for your safety and for others. You don't want to do it for yourself, do it for others. Thank you.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we just come into your awesome presence this evening as we begin our council meeting. It fascinates me, Lord, that there are leaders of this city in this room 3 days before Christmas gathered to serve you and your people. As we celebrate this joyful season of Christmas, of your coming to us in the person of Jesus Christ, Father, I pray that you would come to us once again this evening as our city council serves and leads. As we have gathered here to promote peace, order, and justice, we ask that you bless our mayor and various levels of city officials. We pray particularly for this council that has gathered here. We pray that you grant them wisdom, a sense of welfare, wisdom for the true needs of people, a keen thirst for justice and rightness, confidence in what is right and fitting, the ability to be able to work together in harmony, peace and rest in their personal lives, joy in fulfilling the task to which you have called them to God. We also pray for the residents of this city. We pray for unity in diversity, brotherly harmony, love and kindness. May we demonstrate your love in our actions this season. May also all that we say and do, God, bring glory and honor to your name. So, Father, we conclude this prayer with the words of Paul, who said in 1 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 5 and 7, the Lord has assigned each his task. One plants the seed, the other waters the seed, but God has been making it grow. So neither the one who plants or the one who waters is anything, but only God who makes things grow. We pray these things in your holy and matchless name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Pastor.
Thank you.
We'll begin with roll call. Mayor Oderkirk.
Here.
Councilman Clement.
Here.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Here.
Councilman Guerrero.
Here.
Councilman Hug.
Here.
Councilman Morris.
Here.
Councilman Mudrin.
Here.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Here.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Here.
Let the record show that Councilwoman Gavin is attending remotely. First on the agenda this evening is the approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as written with the following change? Remove from consent agenda, Council Memo 559-21, award of contract for the repair of the old Joliet prison smokestack to Bully and Andrews in the amount of $248,288 to be voted on separately. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as written with voting on Council Memo 559-21 separately?
I'll move.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Clement.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Motion carried. Next is citizens to be heard on agenda items. First is Angela Ortiz. We may have to pause for a minute in case we
Okay.
do have an overflow. So what I'll do, since there is an overflow, I'll read out all the names, and if you could maybe line up with spacing at the end so we can keep the meeting flowing. Angela Ortiz, Erica Gonzalez, Stevie Guzman Alipio, Doug Casper, Mike Covietti, and Felix Ortiz. So if you can line up at the end and go down the center aisle when your name is called. So Angela Ortiz.
Good evening. My name is Angela Ortiz. I'm a lifelong Joliet resident who has worked in several of the surrounding warehouses. And I'm here to say enough. Enough traffic, enough corporate abuse, and enough corruption. Our roads cannot handle tens of thousands of more trucks in the area. Joliet is already facing a water crisis, and it is unfair to bring in corporations who plan on using up to 500,000 gallons of water per day. Our community does not have the capacity to handle this type of drain on resources. North Point promises good jobs, but the only thing I know is guaranteed are more revolving door opportunities, less livable wages, and more pollution. As a former Amazon worker, I can attest to the fact that these aren't good jobs. These are traps set up for people trying to make a living like you and I. Traps meant to enslave you, drain you, and take from your community. It's time we address the current issues at hand and put an end to this. For us, our children, and our warehouse workers. Thank you.
Thank you.
Erica Gonzalez.
Hello, I come here with a humble heart. My name is Erica Gonzalez, and I am an environmental science student at Loyola University. I grew up in Mexico City, and now I live in Romulus, so I have friends living in the Joliet area. However, I feel that this proposed development is gonna affect me. As a graduate from the College of Joliet Junior College, I felt the urge to protect the community that made me grow. And I feel the urge to protect the community and also the natural resources that are being threatened by more environmental degradation. I am opposed to the North Point development because I think that the promise of offering good jobs and these warehouses is false. When I arrived to Illinois, I started working in warehouses because they were the only jobs that were offered to me as an immigrant. I could not stay in one place longer than 3 or 6 months because of the fast pace of work, because there were no benefits offered, and the soulless environment in these warehouses. I'm also against this North Point development because I don't think that the roads cannot handle these thousands of more trucks per day. I think that the infrastructure is already crumbling, and bringing more heavy trucks will only worsen the conditions. This is not a good process. This is just greed. I think also that it's very unfair that corporations are taking advantage of the limited resources in the area. I come from Mexico City where there is a serious water issues, and it's ridiculous that here in the USA, a first world country, there is a path of environmental issues as well as a developing country, as Mexico. I'm very disappointed with the way politics are being held here, and this just shows me that there is corruption everywhere. Corporations and the most elected officials are not interested in the well-being of the people they depend on, their citizens. These corporations and elected officials are greedy and cannot be trusted. It is unfair that these corporations are given tax breaks as they continue to hoard more wealth and more resources. What about the communities, the people, the workers, and the environment they depend on? With our aquifers drying up, this is a regional problem. And paving the land over with these lands that replenish the water is irresponsible and downright bad for the environment. And this does not demonstrate that you care for the land. We're not gonna allow for more degradation to our community and the environment. We are here to remind you that the people living here are your constituents, and your job as a public servant is to serve the community, not the greedy corporations. Instead of giving them permits, first focus on these priorities, please. We demand good jobs, commitments including benefits, healthcare, living wages, and opportunities to grow. We demand environmental impact studies to tell us how this project will impact our land. We demand investment in green technology and electric trucks that we can clean up the air quality issues that affect already the Joliet area. We demand no more tax breaks on corporations that continue to hoard wealth and resources. And we demand a complete traffic study before we proceed with permits, please. Thank you for listening to me and have a good evening.
Thank you.
Stevie Guzman, Olivio.
What was the name, Krista?
Stevie Guzman, Olivio.
Sorry. Hello, my name is Stevie Guzman Alipio, and I'm a lifelong Joliet resident. I've lived here my whole life since birth, and I currently live roughly at the west side. I'm here to speak out against North Point, mostly because of the impact that the project will have on our already depleting aquifer. If you didn't already know, the city is in a water crisis where the aquifer that our communities depend upon will run out of water by 2030. Of course, the city council has proposed building more like a pipeline from Joliet to Chicago in order to circumvent that. Having North Point here will only accelerate the water depletion. Logistics companies like Amazon pay already little nothing in taxes on the federal level, but are polluting our air and consuming our water at least 106 times the use of an average household. While Joliet residents are expected to foot the bill for the construction of this proposed pipeline in the form of water rate increases. We don't need another warehouse coming in, paying little to nothing in taxes, and then accelerating the depletion of our aquifer. At the same time, Joliet's water system and infrastructure remain outdated, and City Council has done little to invest in communities, especially on our vulnerable communities on the east side, where roads are in need of fixing, bridges are in need of repair, and affordable housing and rental assistance are hard to come by. It also concerns me that North Point will likely be getting tax breaks, and that there have been no guarantees that the new jobs being created would pay a living wage, provide good healthcare benefits to workers, or be unionized. We can't trust the promises of large corporations who promise good paying jobs. We have seen these promises before, and what we end up with are grueling high turnover jobs that pay too little and provide little to nothing in the way of benefits. I've never worked in a warehouse personally, but I certainly know a few people who have. Warehouses in the area often depend on temporary service workers, and many of them are given limited breaks and lunches, expected to work long hours, especially during peak seasons like around Christmas time, and are not unionized. While most full-time workers often are given health or medical benefits, these deductibles are often too high to make the plans affordable for them. What Joliet needs are good-paying, clean energy jobs that pay a living wage, are union jobs, and provide good, affordable health care plans to their workers. We also can't allow North Point to move forward without first addressing the concerns of those of us who are already here who could experience more air pollution. The project would put more diesel trucks on the road and create worse air quality for Joliet and Will County residents, releasing particles in the air that would lead to worse health outcomes for me and my community. We'd see more smog and higher rates of asthma among communities in and around the proposed site. There are also planned animal species unique to this region, to the Middaywin, that would be impacted by this ill-informed decision. I believe we should assess the environmental impact of any proposed developments to land. Each time a company moves in, there should be an environmental impact study that determines to what degree the project will affect the soil, the plants and animals, and the air and water quality for all Joliet and Will County residents. We need a city council that isn't going to line their pockets while large corporations swoop in, pay little to nothing in taxes, and continue to pollute our air and deplete our water. I care about this issue because I'm tired of the city giving tax breaks to wealthy corporations and not taking steps to ensure that workers are being paid and treated fairly, or that pollution will not greatly affect the air and water quality for Joliet City residents. We need a city council that is committed to creating clean energy jobs that pay a living wage and give access to affordable healthcare benefits, a city council that will actually represent the population that elects them to office. What I'd like to see are more environmental impact studies and traffic studies, more community input on decisions like this one, and for city council to introduce a graduated water rate system where large commercial users are charged more while also capping water rates for city residents. That way it keeps people here.
So you have 4 minutes, please wrap it up.
I'd also like to see them.
It doesn't mean keep reading, that means wrap it up.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Like I said, I just want to say, we want to say no to North Point. I appreciate all your time, and I hope you guys have a wonderful evening.
Thank you, you too.
Doug Casper. Doug Casper.
Yes, my name is Doug Casper. and I'm here today to speak up for the environment also. I would like to remind the City Council that we are in this environmental crisis. It's a global crisis. And I believe that every decision, in fact, that you make as a council should reflect if it's helping this environmental crisis or hindering it or adding to it. So, jobs are important, and more income for the city is important, but the environmental crisis trumps everything. So I am here to beg you to vote no to North Point. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mike Cavietti? Mike Cavietti? Felix Ortiz?
Hello and good evening, Council. My name is Felix Ortiz, lifelong Joliet resident, born and raised here. I've had the pleasure to be able to call Joliet my city. Ever since I was a child, I've always worked in this place, getting to know all the different diverse people that make up our community. Joliet's always been a city that's been diverse as far as economics go. We've always been a union city. We've always supported the trades. And a lot of advocates like to claim that North Point is going to be a project that's going to be in the name of the trades and the unions and is going to help support and diversify our economy. I beg to differ. What kind of a city are we? We're the third largest city, and our entire economy depends on the logistics centers that creates an ever-revolving door of unsustainable jobs. Our city deserves better than this. Our community deserves to have a say in the building of these large infrastructure projects that are going to impact the taxpayers. Is the revenue that North Point is going to contribute to our city really enough to have to deal with all of the problems and damage that is going to cause to our roadways, our crumbling infrastructure? We're still struggling to even get our bridge back up. The I-80 bridge is still a struggle. And we want to add even more problems to it?
We're not gonna have the cat calling all meeting. If you can't control yourself, you're gonna be asked to leave. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just want to stop this before it gets carried away.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, I'll be more civil then.
No, not you. It's the people behind you that aren't speaking.
All right, I apologize on their behalf, I guess, but yes, my point is that our city deserves better. We deserve to have a much more diverse economy that brings not only jobs, but actual progress to the city of Joliet. I don't think logistics centers are the answer to it. We already struggle with the ongoing development of Center Point that still has yet to even reach its full capacity up to that extent. And now we're getting sued by several different municipalities around us. Can we really afford another lawsuit as a city? Can we really continue to get into these strifes with our neighbors over something that's going to cause a lot of environmental impact on a national treasure, Madaywood National Tallgrass Prairie? A majority of this country has been impacted severely by the pandemic. And these jobs have become a plague for a lot of people to start getting caught with different types of impacts in their lives. If we really want to advocate for our community, we should start by being more fiscally responsible with the way we invest our money and bring projects that bring diversity and true economic development to the city, not bring more destruction, lack of job opportunities, and progress in the city. Thank you very much. My name is Felix Ortiz.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak on an agenda item other than the public hearings this evening? Seeing none, we'll move on to Mayor Pro Tem. Is there a motion to appoint Councilman Terry Morris to serve as Mayor Pro Tem for the term of January 1st, 2022 through March 31st, 2022?
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon?
Aye.
Councilman Clement?
Aye.
Motion carried. Next is council committee reports. First, we have the finance committee report.
Thank you. The Finance Committee met today at 5:30 here at City Hall. On the Finance Committee is Councilwoman Reardon and Councilman Guerrero. We had a presentation from Joe Johnson and Ellison Swisher on the water update, which she'll be meeting individually with each council member and then having a workshop for all of us at one time. The other item on the agenda, we approved a motion to bring a grant request writing to the council on January 4th. We have an opportunity to match a grant potentially through the state up to $3 million for a new plaza on Chicago Street. That would be presented to us on the next meeting in January. The monthly financial report is still very strong. Sales tax are leading the way. Our replacement tax, which is that corporate tax of 2%, is above budget by 136%. The state sales tax is up. We're over our budget now with 3 months to go on that. And the bottom line of our budget compared to the 2019 budget is we are 35 million ahead. Now 11 million of that was the money from the federal government. And Sherry or Guerrero, Caesar, and that's my report.
Thank you.
Public Service Committee report.
Public Service Committee met yesterday at 4:30 here at City Hall in the council chambers. On the committee is Councilwoman Gavin, Councilman Morris, and myself. Also in attendance was Allison Swisher, Director of Public Utilities, Water and Sewer, as well as Greg Ruddy, Director, I'm sorry, Greg wasn't there. He had sent one of his engineers in. We had 6 contracts that we reviewed. They ranged from finishing up some roadway improvements from the CDBG fund, pretty much housekeeping, to some water and sewer projects, as well as some lead replacement. So we did go through all 6 of them individually. All 6 did receive a unanimous vote to send a positive recommendation for approval to the full city council, and you will see them in 2 weeks. Under ordinance change orders and final payments, we had 7 items that were either change orders, payments, or final payments. And again, we went through all 7 of them. We found nothing to be out of order and everything to be in line. And again, all 7 items under change orders, pay estimates, and final payments received unanimous approval to send it to the full council with a positive recommendation for approval. And then under ordinance and resolutions, we had 2 items that were necessary due to the projects already reviewed. As a matter of formality, you have to approve accepting funds, for instance, Illinois bond funds for the professional engineering services for the phases 1, 2, 3, engineering for our new traffic management system, which is going to be fiber optic. Again, we looked at both those ordinances, which are to accept funds or make payments, release money from the city MFT funds for the already reviewed items. Other than that, we had a very, very brief review from Allison Swisher about the alternative water source program, the one we've been working on for, I think it's almost 3 or 4 years now. It goes back quite a distance. And we will have the finalized water commission by the end of January. It looks to have 7 or 8 communities that will be on the commission along with Joliet. So that's the good news. We will have her maybe give that small review or a year-end review at our first January meeting. I chose as the chairman not to ask her to do it tonight because our plate's pretty full already. Did I miss anything?
I don't believe so.
Okay. With that, Mayor, that would be my report for the Public Service Committee.
Thank you.
I show no other reports. Under consent agenda, approval of the minutes. It's recommended the minutes of the pre-council meeting held on December 6, 2021, the minutes of the council meeting held on December 7, 2021, the minutes of the special council meeting held on December 8, 2021, and the minutes of the special council meeting held on December 13, 2021 stand approved as recorded. Invoices paid report. It's recommended this report be received and placed on file. Council Memo 557-21, position vacancies. It's recommended the city manager be authorized to fill 4 police patrol officer positions, 1 police sergeant, and 1 management assistant in the police department, along with any subsequent vacancies which may occur. Council Memo 558-21, award a contract for emergency roof replacement at 815 Campbell Street to Adler Roofing in the amount of $56,420. Council Memo 559-21 was removed from consent agenda and will be voted on separately. Council Memo 560-21, award of contract for the motor fuels purchase 2022 bid. It's recommended approve the purchase of approximately 385,000 gallons of unleaded fuel from Al Warren Oil for 2022 for $2.8930 per gallon, and approve the purchase of approximately 60,000 gallons of grade 1 diesel fuel and 150,000 gallons of grade 2 diesel fuel from Gladio Trading and Marketing Company for $3.4331 per gallon and $2.8831 per gallon respectively. Council Memo 561-21, award of contract for professional service for the design, permitting, drafting for the Chicago Street Water Main Improvement Project to Civil Tech Engineering in the amount of $38,911.99. Council Memo 562-21, approval of a lease agreement for the Public Utilities Engineering Staff Office relocation to Bays Rialto Building LLC in the amount of $150,012. Council Memo 563-21, change order number 1 for purchase of golf carts for the Public Utilities Division contract to Harris Golf Carts in the amount of $17,350. Council Memo 564-21, change order number 2 for the Summit Street, Stone Street, Bridge Street roadway improvement project to Austin Tyler Construction in the amount of $23,294, and payment request number 4 and final in the amount of $58,545.31. Council Memo 565-21, change order number 1 for time extension on the lead surface line replacement Phase 2C to Austin Tyler Construction. Council Memo 566-21, change order number 1 for the lead service replacement Phase 2B to Stipp Brothers Excavating in the amount of $126,341.65, and payment estimate number 7 and final in the amount of $629,939.22. Council Memo 567-21, change order number 1 for the Florence Park Phase 1B Water Main Improvements Project to Brandt Excavating in the amount of negative $61,912.23, and payment estimate number 5 and final in the amount of $161,007.91. Council Memo 568-21, change order number 1 for the Reedwood Phase 1B Water Main Improvement Project to Brandt Excavating in the amount of negative $149,993.92, and payment estimate number 6 and final in the amount of $197,176.24. It's recommended Council Memos 558-21 and 560-21 through 568-21 be approved. Is there a motion to approve all said consent agenda items?
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Guerrero.
Just very briefly with respect to, I did here, Memo 562, there were some questions that were brought up about whether or not there would be any better alternative locations. That we spent some time looking back at a few of the other options and still reached the same conclusion that this would be the best decision. And then just to clarify for anybody watching at home, that's $150,000 spread over the course of 3 years, so roughly $50,000 each year. So if upon reviewing the other options, we still reach the same conclusion, then I'll vote aye.
Councilman Hug.
Just to clarify, 559-21 has been pulled and set aside.
Correct. That'll be.
Yes, aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Clement.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin. Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
So moving back to Council Memo 559-21, award of contract for the repair of the old Joliet Prison smokestack to Bully and Andrews in the amount of $248,288. It's recommended Council Memo 559-21 be approved.
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Hug,
No?
Councilman Morris,
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin,
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman,
No.
Councilwoman Reardon,
Aye.
Councilman Clement,
Yeah, Mayor,
Yes.
do we know if this went to committee? I mean, I don't recall it did or did not, Jim. And then secondly, I'm in favor of what we're trying to do over there at the prison. I just think, we have not exhausted all of our options, maybe grant money, COVID money. I'm not saying totally no, but today I can't support this. I think there's other options that moving forward.
Yes.
There's a question about whether or not it went to committee.
Yeah.
Do we want an answer to that?
Yes.
Okay, the original intention was to bring this to committee, and at the last prison committee meeting, this was brought up that we were gonna go out to bids with that. There was a glitch in the bidding process that took longer than anticipated, and now we're up against the expiration of the current budget where there is money budgeted for this type of expense. So due to the expiring budget, we just brought it to council and not committee.
Okay. Yeah, at this point, I'm gonna vote no on it, Mayor.
Okay.
Councilwoman Gavin,
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero.
Aye.
Motion carried 5-3.
Mayor, I just have a quick question, if you don't
Yes.
mind. Since we don't own this, how, are we gonna get any money back from the state on that? Because of the danger? I'm just,
I know Greg Peerbold is here, not in the chambers. My understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, the museum has put in for several grants with the hope that they will be paying us back on this, but there's nothing that's, we haven't secured anything, is that correct?
That is correct, sir.
so if we were not to do, I mean, it's passed, I'm just asking now, if we were not to do this, it's for a safety reason, because we are doing a lot of tours and it's been a very popular thing. If something happened, would we be sued or would the state be sued or both?
But it's hard to answer who would be sued, but the primary liability would sit with us in this case.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Moving on under public hearings, first is Council Memo 570-20. It's a resolution approving an annexation agreement for 61.45 acres located west of Chicago Street at Emerald Drive. Mayor, this is a public hearing, so public comments would be in order at this time. We did not receive any public hearing interested parties signatures for this item, nor public hearing public speakers, but I would recommend you open it up.
Open the hearing. Is there anyone who'd like to speak on this item?
I just want to make sure we have ample time for anybody
That's fine.
in overflow. Seeing none, let the record show the hearing is now closed. Is there a motion to approve Council Memo 570-21, which is a resolution approving an annexation agreement for 61.45 acres located west of Chicago Street at Emerald Drive?
So move.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Morris,
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin,
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman,
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon,
Aye.
Councilman Clement,
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Chris, just one question, please. This is you said this is at Emerald Drive,
That's correct.
a part of the Eastgate, fees? No. I'm sorry.
This is the Cadence project.
Yes, okay, all right. Yes, I vote aye.
Councilman Guerrero,
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Mayor,
Yes.
if I mind, if there's no objection, because we have several people that are here particularly for that item, and it happened to come up first, which is good. There are, I think, 5 related items under ordinance and resolutions. Can we move those 5 up for vote now? Because they're gonna remain as they should, as will the North Point, folks, to answer questions, but there's no reason to keep them here for another hour or 2 or whatever.
Yeah, it's up.
Can we do that? I'm looking at 574, 575, 576, 577, and I believe 578, all have to do with that particular. You know, if we can move that up for any discussion and take a vote, that would release the folks. I think they're down hidden in one of the rooms
So
because of the.
going out of order with the public hearing?
We can do it by motion, right?
Well,
Mike's off. Sabrina.
The only difference is that those ordinances are not subject to the public hearing, only the annexation and development agreement.
Right, but we have another public hearing coming up immediately after this.
There's two more public hearings.
Right, so if we go right to their ordinances, they're done, they can leave. And then we can go to the next public hearing and work
Okay,
down
as long as
there.
the public hearing is closed, we can move something on the agenda.
Right, that's what I was saying. So I would make a motion to move those 5 items forward, which would be 574, 575, 576, 577, and that's it.
Yeah.
Okay, 4 items. I don't want to keep going. I would make a motion to move those forward for discussion and vote now.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to move council memos 574-21 through 577-21 before the next public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. So let's move to council memo under ordinances, council memo 574-21, which is an ordinance approving the annexation of 61.45 acres located west of Chicago Street at Emerald Drive. It's recommended said ordinance be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Mudrin,
Yes.
Councilwoman Quillman,
Yes, aye.
Councilwoman Reardon,
Aye.
Councilman Clement,
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin,
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero,
Aye.
Councilman Hug,
Aye?
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Motion carried. Next is Council Memo 575-21, an ordinance approving the classification of 61.45 acres located west of Chicago Street at Emerald Drive to I-1 Light Industrial Zoning. It's recommended said ordinance be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Quillman,
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon,
Aye.
Councilman Clement,
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin,
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero,
Aye.
Councilman Hug,
Aye?
Councilman Morris,
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 576-21 is an ordinance approving a reclassification of 5.436 acres at the west side of Chicago Street at Emerald Drive and Marcella Avenue from B3 General Business to I1 Light Industrial Zoning. It's recommended said ordinance be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Reardon,
Aye.
Councilman Clement,
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin,
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero,
Aye.
Councilman Hug,
Aye?
Councilman Morris,
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin,
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Motion carried. And Council Memo 577-21, an ordinance approving a special use permit to allow truck and trailer parking, cartage, and truck and trailer repair, including bodywork and painting. It's recommended said ordinance be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Clement,
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin,
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero,
Aye.
Councilman Hug,
Aye?
Councilman Morris,
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin,
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman,
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Mayor?
Yes.
If I might ask another question to our legal counsel, can we move 572-21, the public hearing up? Is it okay to move it up? That would leave us with the biggest one on the table by standing by itself, as opposed, maybe even free up some seats here for folks that are here to answer questions.
So those two public hearings are gonna be open together,
Okay.
both Rockville and Eastgate.
All right, so can we do that now?
Oh, we're done with the ordinances with respect to Cadence?
Yes, we're done with
So
cadence.
we would reopen, or we would open the new public.
Can we open it and table it so that in case somebody's here waiting in one of the rooms for this item, they can leave?
No, we're gonna deal with it now.
Okay,
Right, we're gonna
thank
deal
you.
with them together.
Yeah,
All right, thank you.
Councilman Hug, just so you know, we have no one signed up for the second hearing as well,
Right,
but
that's
we're
what I'm
opening them
assuming.
together,
Right,
so.
right, so, but I didn't know if there's somebody from the company waiting here for the tabling. So we might as well let them go, if we take care of it
We're gonna do it
first.
together.
Okay.
So the next two items, we will open up the public hearings together. First is Council Memo 571-21, a resolution approving the annexation and development agreement for approximately 2,179.296 acres with Eastgate Logistics Park Chicago LLC for Compass Business Park. And Council Memo 572-21, a resolution approving the annexation agreement for 117.36 acres with Wackle Limited Partnership. So we would like to open both public hearings at the same time. So let the record show the public hearing is now open.
If there's anyone who'd like to speak on this item, you can come forward now. Chris or Sabrina, do you want to go over the public hearing rules?
Sure, just so we're clear and everybody can see them as they're put up on the screens now. They were posted on our website and they do appear on the agenda. With regard to the public hearing, all testimony and evidence will be presented under oath. The petitioner will be allowed to present first. After the petitioner is completed, interested parties will be allowed to present evidence and/or cross-examine the petitioner. As this hearing is legislative in nature and not administrative, an interested party shall be defined as someone who either owns property within 600 feet of the proposed development site or a member or official representative of an affected governmental body. The remainder of those who wish to be heard shall be classified as public speakers. So to be clear, the petitioner will present first, interested parties second. Once the interested parties have completed, public speakers will be heard. These individuals are public speakers, so the applicable rules shall be in effect. Speakers should try to address all comments to the council as a whole and not to any individual member. Repetitive comments are discouraged. No comment time for any one person is longer than 4 minutes. No speaker shall engage in a debate or make direct threats or personal attacks or be uncivil or abusive. The presiding officer may limit irrelevant, immaterial, or inappropriate comments or statements. And with that, we'll turn it over to the clerk. Thank you.
Typically, first we would start with the presentation, or
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and City Council. Tom Osterberg on behalf of the applicant. Also here today is Mike Devine, who's the attorney for the Wackle interest. If I may, in order to make it more efficient, if you'd like, you can swear, even though it is a legislative hearing, your rules require that any testimony be given under oath. So I would suggest that all of the team here, including Mr. Devine, swear in, so that if there are any questions, we don't have to go through that process again.
Okay. Who's swearing to me tonight?
Krista?
So everybody
I don't need
I guess you. All right, raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
We do.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. So I will, as you know, this is a public hearing on an amendment to an annexation agreement. So it is an amendment to Eastgate's existing annexation agreement. It is additional property subject to annexation agreements within the city, also being amended and restated under the same agreement. And it is an addition of additional property not within the city at this time. So we're here to answer questions. I'll turn it over now to Tom George, just to give you what is an addition since we were last here and you approved the last agreement.
Thank you.
Mayor, council members, clerk, council, we appreciate the opportunity. We appreciate your patience, your hours that you've spent on this project already. We're very excited to get started. I'm going to just go through the highlights of the changes, 2021 versus 2020, and we'll certainly answer any questions, and we'll answer questions later also. We're looking at about 819 additional acres. The majority of those acres are already annexed into the city of Joliet, and about a quarter of those acres are actually already zoned I-1 light industrial. We will have 4 proposed conservation areas in the current plan as opposed to 2. The current plan will have a bridge over Route 53 in the vicinity of Bream Road, which will include a pedestrian and bike path on it. The current plan contemplates potentially closing Millsdale Road so that that neighborhood no longer has to be the route for folks to get into the current intermodal park. They'll actually go through our park. So that's in the current agreement. We've added an obligation in the current agreement for the developer to pay for a third-party review of the traffic impact study. And as you know, we will be doing the traffic impact study on an ongoing basis. Every 3 million square feet, we'll do a new study, and the developer will pay for the cost for the city to have that reviewed by a third party. We clarified the obligation in the current agreement that the developer is to pay for third-party inspection of all the infrastructure that will be dedicated. This is a very expensive item, and we wanted to make it clear we plan to build it well, so we will be doing that. We also added an additional year to the city's requirement for a 2-year maintenance and warranty obligation. We will now be providing a 3-year maintenance and warranty obligation on all infrastructure. We added an obligation to design the street lighting per IES guidelines. We clarified to the developer's obligation to pay for off-site improvements, which are dictated by the traffic impact study. We wanted to make that very clear. That question keeps coming up, and we wanted to make that real clear. It was in the previous agreement, we just clarified it. We clarified that the closed-loop truck network will include a bridge over Manhattan Road to maintain the security of the closed loop. The property is now adjacent to the city's existing water and sewer, so that's great news. We will be extending that system, of course, and working with your Public Utilities Department. We added an obligation in the current agreement to grant easements to the city for the city's alternate water supply. So once you determine what you need and where you need it, we'll work with your staff, but we are obligated to provide those easements for you. We changed the timing of the $5 million payment to be upon issuance of the building permit for the first building to be constructed on the property, as opposed to upon annexation of substantially all the property. So we've moved that up to the very first building. And we've increased the width of the pedestrian and bike paths throughout the park from 8 feet to 10 feet. Those are the major changes. And I'll be happy to answer any questions or provide any more. And again, we can certainly talk more after the public meeting.
Mr. Mayor and City Council, 2 additional comments before we get started. We already heard some comments on our general public speaking on non-agenda items about traffic studies. We have our traffic engineer here. I want to make a point. A traffic study was given to the city years ago. The city looked at it. You have to understand, when we hear these objections about a traffic study does not get approved per se to determine whether or not a project is feasible. It is designed by its own standards and by its own governing bodies to be a tool that a municipality or a developer together use to determine what on-site and off-site traffic improvements are required, okay? So it's not something where the city's gonna ever read it and say, oh, we can or can't do it. The question is, what are you gonna require of the developer? And in our current agreement, every 3 years it gets renewed, every 3 million square feet. And if there are off-site requirements by the city, the developer has to do them. And if they are not within the jurisdiction of the city, the developer has to go to those other governmental bodies, whether the township or an adjacent municipality, and try to have them put in place. So I want to get that clear before you hear more objections to the same. I think that's all we have for now.
Any questions from the council? No.
Next, we have those that signed up as interested parties. First is Julia Baum Coldwater.
Can you raise your right hand, ma'am? You solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
I want to start by thanking you for the opportunity to provide comments at this hearing. My name is Julia Baum Coldwater, and I'm speaking on behalf of both my husband, Larry Coldwater, and myself. We are the owner-operators of Coldwater Seed Farm and Coldwater Farms. We're located in unincorporated Jackson Township and in the village of Elwood. And I am here because we will be directly impacted and we will be negatively impacted by the proposed project if it's approved as presented before this body. My understanding is that if this is an amendment to prior annexation agreements that have been approved, and prior development agreements that have been approved, then there are a number of issues still standing that come from those other documents and those other agreements with prior approval. Again, we will be directly negatively impacted by the proposed project if approved. I do want to also just go on the record as well that I personally am a member of both Open Lands and the Sierra Club. And I wanted to go on the record that I personally support and endorse the comments and concerns that representatives from those organizations have expressed in the past and will be expressing and continue to express at this hearing. There are a number I will not get into, but I wanted to go on the record that I support the issues that they're bringing up. My own testimony contains unique information and facts that relate to the direct negative impact of the proposed project on us personally and on our land and on our business. My understanding is, obviously since I'm here, I am an interested party and I have standing. So my understanding is I will have more time than the 4 minutes typically given for public comment or for community comment. I want to state that preparing the testimony has been extremely difficult because of limited information made available to the public regarding the newest parts of this project proposal. There's been a lot of discussion about the traffic studies, and it is a frustration to those in the public when information is not available to us to at least see where the village or where the city and the developer are moving or what the issues might be. We have issues we know about on the ground where we live, but nothing was available to us in order to assess and to make intelligent or more complete public comments. The only things that were available were the 2 draft studies that were released through FOIAs. The first draft study we were told was obsolete because it was from 2020. And then the second draft study only covers, from my understanding, land on the west side of 53. There appears to be nothing available for us to take a look at along with the city and the developer for the new land that's being proposed to be annexed in and some of it being rezoned on the east side of 53. Finally, I wanted to note that the actual annexation and development agreement currently presented is very limited in length compared to other agreements that have come before comparable bodies. And that limitedness raises more questions than answers about the impact of the proposed project on the adjacent and surrounding communities and residents. It's our concern that any approval of this current Compass Business Park proposal at this time is that it's premature. We also wish, my husband and I also wish to express our concern over the recommendation made by the Plan Commission to bring this project as presented now before the City Council for a hearing and a vote. For the Plan Commission public hearing, citizens were not provided adequate information in a timely manner in order to adequately prepare and provide comments. Up until the Tuesday evening before the Thursday evening hearing, only the written information available for public to review was the Plan Commission agenda and the staff report for the hearing. And the parcel site exhibit referenced in the staff report could not be found to be downloaded. The draft annexation and development agreement became available online sometime after 7 p.m. on the Tuesday evening preceding the hearing, and that left less than 48 hours to review and digest the draft proposal. Furthermore, there were no completed, revised, or even draft traffic studies available for the public for the acreage being considered, nor were there available environmental studies concerning the project and its impact on ground or surface water, drainage, and the like. As I start, I want to give first just an overview of the concerns and objections to the proposed project. For us personally, if this project is approved as presented, we personally could face loss of land, damage to land, loss of access to land, damage to our business operation dependent on that land, potentially cutting our business operation in half. And thus, as a result, we would have loss of income. We also could face the loss of at least one historically supporting farmstead and would be at risk of losing a second historic farmstead. This one designated historically significant and deemed eligible for landmark status in the National Register of Historic Places by the Illinois Department of Natural Resources. With loss of those particular farmsteads, we would lose use of all buildings on those farmsteads as well. And finally, we have 4 wells connected to 4 farmsteads with residences that will be put at risk if this project is approved as presented. Excuse me a minute. Oops. As I stated, our 540-acre farm is contiguous with the project footprint covered by the proposal under consideration tonight. Our farm sits between the currently proposed southwestern border of Compass Business Park, Joliet, along Chicago Road. That is to our east. And then to the west is roughly 200-acre Compass Business Park, Elwood, which is directly adjacent to us and contiguous with us on the west side. And in reality, Compass Business Park, Elwood is the projected site for the proposed Strawn Bridge crossing Illinois 53 and the UP tracks. And thus, Compass Business Park, Elwood is very much a part of the overall Compass Business Park proposal. The issues that we face right now: number one, Walter Strawn Bridge and the Compass Parkway. The petitioner continues to include in the proposed agreement a possible bridge over the Union Pacific Railroad tracks in Illinois 53 in the location of Walter Strawn Drive and Ira Morgan Street. And they continue to include the possibility of a closed loop, which would be an extension or a part of Compass Parkway. They include that to connect the Strawn Bridge, located within the Elwood Village limits potentially, to Rail Road, which is within the Joliet project footprint. That extension of Compass Parkway would assume all necessary road improvements, which is in the Compass Business Park proposal, including curbage, no ditches, and the like. If this road is built as stipulated, or if this is built as stipulated, the bridge and the closed loop would absolutely require use of our property, despite the fact that we are not and will not be under Joliet's jurisdiction. Our land is the only feasible location for a proposed closed loop connecting Compass Business Park Joliet to Compass Business Park Elwood and Strawn Bridge. Whether placed on Mississippi Avenue or any other location, this closed loop would bisect our farm in one place or another. And if it is built as specified, it would effectively cut off our access to the farmland north of wherever that loop is placed, making those fields landlocked and preventing them from being farmed. We would lose access to at least 135 acres of productive farmland if the loop is placed along currently existing Mississippi Avenue. This number could be higher, as I said, depending on the actual placement of the loop. The further south the loop would go, the more land we would be cut off from for productive farm use. This landlocking will substantially diminish our property value for farming purposes, and it will substantially diminish our own production for crops. Furthermore, we also would face restricted access to all land south of the closed loop due to the projected road improvements and additional truck traffic that we would be facing. The current proposal as well as the information presented at public meetings and other discussions related to Compass Business Park indicate that we could face actual loss of farmsteads and homesteads and buildings as well. Future projected roadways, easements, pedestrian walkways, easements, bike path easements, further landscaping, all threaten our land and our farmsteads. Another issue related to the bridge and the road. Any pursuit of Strong Bridge specifically would pose a direct threat to historical buildings and sites on our property. As stated, Coldwater Farms Homestead and Farm along Chicago Road has been designated officially eligible for listing in the National Register of Historic Places by the Illinois Department of Natural Resources. The closed loop will damage this historic farm and cause actual land loss from this historic farm. There are 2 additional homesteads and farms also that have been deemed historically significant or supportive by Will County. One of these farmsteads likely will be totally lost with the creation of the closed loop as planned. So our first issue does surround Walter Strawn and the Compass Parkway as proposed as an option for the Compass Business Park development. Another issue that we face is additional road development and improvements. Mississippi Avenue and Chicago Road have specifically been laid out for road improvements within the development and annexation agreement. According to the proposed agreement, the developer shall be responsible for the improvement of any existing roads located on or immediately adjacent to the property. That includes Chicago Road, which is adjacent also to the historic Coldwater Farms. The developer also stated it will extend Mississippi Avenue east of Chicago Road to Railroad. The agreement states that Mississippi extension will be anywhere from 3 lanes to 5 lanes, potentially. Depending on what happens with the extension of Mississippi Avenue, we will face a number of issues. Proposed truck barricades and road development, including projected curbage along Chicago Road, will interfere with our farming operations and will interfere with the ability to get our equipment into our fields. The same, as I have said, will take place along Mississippi if Mississippi is further developed to the west of Chicago Road. Field access and necessary use of roads during harvest and planting season would be restricted, further harming our farming operations. It is impossible to harvest our fields without keeping our trucks and our equipment in the road as well. The next point, the extension of Mississippi into Compass Business Park poses a flood risk as the planned road will be built directly over an established and natural waterway, which then runs to a floodplain which also is projected to be built upon and paved over. That area feeding the waterway currently is prone to flooding right now, despite previous roadway and culvert improvements at the current Mississippi Avenue and Chicago Road intersection. The presented proposal fails to provide evidence that the road development and other building in that floodplain will not increase flooding on our property. As previously stated, there is no environmental study or other Compass Business Park plans available to provide assurance of how potential flooding would be prevented. That should be looked at already. Another issue with the development of roads is that the projected employee and other traffic creates a hardship for our farming operation. The extension of Mississippi Avenue into the project footprint will draw considerable employee traffic and box truck traffic seeking to access the southern part of the planned business park. At recent meetings and the Plan Commission hearing, North Point representatives estimated anywhere from 10,000 to 20,000 employees at build-out. One person said 10,000, another person said 20,000. But that would suggest that there could be up to 6,000 plus employee vehicles per shift coming and going, with a considerable amount of them using the access point at Mississippi. The current proposal fails to provide any evidence of projected traffic levels for any access points into the project, including Mississippi. And it fails to provide evidence of how traffic patterns will not interfere with local farming operations. We will be impacted, and we are not the only ones farming still in that area. There are still farmers that will continue to farm thousands of acres in that area if this project is approved. In fact, current documents are not even clear exactly where each and every access point will be built. The access points for employees or box trucks, deliveries, that kind of thing. And again, there has been no traffic studies made available to the public to be able to see, to address these concerns and to have an idea of how this will be handled. So we have a number of issues related to road development. We also have issues related to surface water and flooding concerns, in addition to the intersection of Mississippi and Chicago Road. There have been no environmental studies, including surface water studies or specific plans, made available for the public to review, which address issues such as current floodplains and natural water flow areas which will be paved over, or current tile systems in the project footprint which connect with adjacent farmland, not within the project footprint. We have drainage that needs to flow freely into more than one area of Compass Business Park, not just the one intersection I cited. And our fields could be impacted by broken field tile during Compass Business Park construction. The petitioner has not provided evidence of how tile systems and natural waterways will be protected. Another point we face is that there is a threat to our private wells. The proposed annexation and development agreement strongly suggests that the project could pose a threat to all local and private wells in the area, not just ours. We have 4 that service 4 homesteads. A well and all necessary related facilities is projected within the project footprint to service Compass Business Park. Yet there's no evidence presented to indicate there is adequate groundwater for a development of this size without impacting the wells of private residences and smaller businesses in the area, as well as other smaller municipalities adjacent to the proposed project footprint. There's also no evidence recommending the projected location of the proposed new well. Where will it be? We don't know. Please note that there currently is anecdotal evidence which suggests drop in well volume and pressure around the Compass Business Park footprint. We personally know people that have had problems with their wells, especially experienced during dry periods or drought spells over past years. These experiences among private well owners should raise red flags when considering a well that would service a project the size of Compass Business Park. I mean, we're talking 0.4 million gallons a day or more. That's the projections that we've been given. The feasibility of such a well has not been documented as part of this proposal. The feasibility of it, is the water even there? Is it even available without compromising other people already dependent on that groundwater? No environmental studies are available for public review that address this specific concern. Currently, most land within the proposed footprint is being farmed, regardless of how you zone it and regardless of what the intentions have been by Joliet for the use of that property. It is ag right now, functionally. It is being farmed and has been farmed for generations. And there is no irrigating of that farmland. Therefore, the current water usage of that land is extremely limited. Adding 0.4 million gallons a day of water usage to be drawn from this area from uncertain and unknown sources poses a direct threat to us personally and to others around us. Another concern we personally face, health and quality of life. The project's proximity to us would have a direct negative impact on our health and quality of life. Even the conservative traffic estimates of 3,600 trucks per day for the original footprint previously approved would increase diesel exhaust near our residents, causing a serious threat to our family members with chronic respiratory diseases. We have 2 in our household. It should be noted that prior traffic studies, one done for North Point and another from a separate source, have placed the traffic figures at 6,000 trucks up to 16,000 trucks per day respectively, when the smaller version of this whole project was being considered by the village of Elwood. This suggests that current traffic estimates for the project are now presented, that the project as now presented are low. Add to these figures the vehicles of anywhere from 10 to 20,000 employees, as well as delivery and other box trucks. With no completed traffic studies, the petitioner has presented no evidence that quality of life and health will not be negatively impacted. I have a number of other general concerns as well, and I'm not going to get into them in too much detail because I realize other people will probably be covering them. So when it comes to the way our personal situation and our life and our business and our land will be impacted, overall, the project poses a grave risk to us personally. This project as planned, again, will cause loss of access to our land. It will cause grave harm to and loss to our land. It will, to our land and our farming and our business operation. It will cause potential loss of income to us, and it will compromise our own personal well-being. And it likely will substantially diminish our property value for farming purposes. It also poses a serious threat to our personal wells, and we need that to be addressed. I want to skip some of this. The very issues that affect my husband and I personally with our farming operation will affect others in the immediate area. Issues such as traffic, issues such as pollution, issues such as the potential for increased flooding. There are 4 major creek systems that flow through this property. And again, no evidence that's been presented to indicate there would be an adequate handling of all surface water to avoid flooding even downstream from the project for the 3 creeks running through the property. There's a likelihood of decreased property value, not just for us, but for any residential areas surrounding it. Again, also potential for others to face loss of quality of life. And there are the issues also directly related to the Lincoln Veterans Cemetery and Medewin Tallgrass Prairie, which I will leave to others to address. In light of all this, that I've stated, we ask that the City of Joliet Council vote no to the proposed project and the related annexation and development agreement in any zoning and annexation currently being considered. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
The next interested party is Delilah Legret.
You raise your right hand, please. Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Delilah Legret, and I'm a resident of Jackson Township, and I'm also a part of Jackson Township Assessor. I am here this evening to oppose the annexation and rezoning of the development before you. The agenda documents are conflicting and confusing. Exhibits are not included in the hyperlink provided for the development agreement. I checked the Cadence hearing document from earlier this evening, and exhibits were provided in their hyperlink. I attempted to retrieve the exhibits from the agenda packet, but likely due to size, there consistently was a server error. In the next link, the ownership disclosure form seemed filled out for some properties, but missing from others. Exhibits are attached for that portion. Property 13, which I assume no longer exists because it's not detailed anywhere, adds to the confusion. In the Plan Commission meeting, my understanding of what would be voted on was annexation of a few new parcels and then essentially getting rid of all of the former approved zonings and special use and reapproving tonight as a whole. Last night, it was said, anytime they go to incorporate land, you have to have another hearing anyway. It's nothing new or different. Based on this statement, one could be led to believe that the old zonings are in fact still in place, and tonight's vote would be for the newly incorporated parcels. Either way, this agreement is missing the Jackson Creek and Sugar Creek area approvals as required by section 4715G of the Joliet ordinances. As a homeowner near the footprint, I find multiple aspects of the project detrimental to my property rights. My home, backs to Manhattan Road, is on a private well. According to the draft water report supplied by the city through FOIA, there is to be a standpipe, pump station, and well and water treatment very near my home. When reviewing EPA guidelines on this, I found the agency urges homeowners in my situation to review the environmental impact study, zoning restrictions, and all other pertinent data to protect my source of drinking water. The city does not have an environmental impact study to provide for me. There seems to be no I-1 uses that will be disallowed in the project area. I did check other agreements that the city of Joliet has voted to see if that's pretty standard, but they do include lists of items not allowed, including this evening's Cadence agreement. I also echo the traffic noise concerns of others this evening. Based on what has been made available, this project will not operate in a clean and quiet manner pursuant to I-1 zoning requirements. It will have a negative impact on myself, my family, and my property. Thank you.
Stephanie Irvine.
Would you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Stephanie Irvine, and I live in Jackson Township. I'm speaking tonight on behalf of myself and my husband, who is a joint owner of property on Breen Road. I'm also a member of Open Lands in the Sierra Club. When I first requested information required to understand how a development of this scale could impact my family and property prior to the Plan Commission hearing, I was denied. The city subsequently furnished a couple studies, a partial traffic study and an old water study that didn't include any of the property that is the subject of this hearing. Nothing else was provided. It became overtly apparent that the petitioner failed to conduct the appropriate studies. No reputable company would want to slap down a project of this magnitude without proper planning and complete feasibility studies, and no responsible unit of government should approve a project without one. Proper planning is important, and the city shouldn't move forward with a see what happens, fix it later approach. The hodgepodge traffic studies are inadequate as they do not study the full scale of the project and thus its real impacts. No air quality or environmental studies were conducted. Water studies and projections were also inaccurate as they didn't study the whole project. A complete concept map is missing. It is extremely difficult to assess the project's impact when pertinent information has not been provided. We have asked for the bare minimum of due diligence, and yet the petitioner struggles to come up with anything remotely close to what is necessary. We have sincere concerns that have not been addressed. Our health, livelihood, and our family business, property value, quality of life, general well-being, safety as we travel are all at stake. The character of the area will be permanently and negatively altered, which affects our property rights. With talk about a common sense, long-term investment, what would really make sense and be logical is that a project would not be cobbled together, rushed without appropriate studies, and that decisions would not be made without considering comprehensive land use planning. Yet here we are, the week of Christmas, with COVID cases surging, all because North Point is impatient and the city is bending over to their wishes. Approval of this flawed and inappropriate annexation and rezoning without appropriate research and due diligence would be detrimental to the city and the surrounding community, deprive individuals of property rights, and produce extreme environmental harms. As such, I oppose the annexation and rezoning for North Point development. Thank you.
Thank you.
Matt Robbins?
Raise your right hand, please. Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do. Good evening. My name is Matt Robbins, and I'm the supervisor of Jackson Township. As a board, we are completely against this project. We feel it is irresponsible and reckless to put more traffic on Route 53 and other local roads. As an elected official, it is very disheartening there is no cooperation, communication, or consideration on projects that are directly affecting our township. This project will be solely in Jackson Township, and North Point hasn't even come and talked to us about this new phase and bridges that will cut our township in half. Councilman Coleman, I believe it was you that told North Point.
Address the council as a whole, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
I believe they were told to come and meet with us and discuss this project, this part of the project. Then why haven't they come to our board and talked to us about cutting our township in half with a road and more warehouses? A year ago, you voted to not change the zoning on this property that butts up to Cedar Creek. What's changed? They are still your residents, and they were promised they would have homes to the south and west of them per your comprehensive plan, not roads, bridges, and warehouses. Is this how you want to treat your residents, or how you'd like to be treated? How about the guy building houses in Cedar Creek? You say that the housing market in the area is dead? Then why is he building? Maybe because there is a need for housing? How much do you think he can sell those houses for after there's a 4-lane truck route in his backyard? I don't understand the need for this project when Center Point has stated it has between 1,200 and 1,500 acres left to build out. This new phase of this project is the epitome of strip annexing. Maybe not per the definition, but taking 10 acres here and 40 acres here to get where you need to go is strip annexing. Most of us today teach our kids not to bully other smaller kids. How do we explain this to them? That because someone is bigger, they can take what they want and leave the problems for the smaller community? That is the epitome of a bully, and that is exactly what you're doing to the people of Elwood and Jackson Township. Right. The decisions you make tonight will forever change the landscape of Will County. Please really think about that when you make that decision. Is this how you want to be remembered? Someone who just fell in line and did what they were told? Or be the voice of the people? Elected officials are supposed to be that voice and represent the people. I ask you to please listen to the people and be that voice. Joliet is a leader of Will County and should represent all of Will County, not just what is best for them. Vote no to North Point. Thank you.
Thank you.
Coley O'Connell?
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes. All right, hello, my name is Coley O'Connell. I am a trustee for the Jackson Township, and I'm a 42-year resident of Elwood. It's home. I'm gonna be brief to the point, it's home. As a trustee, I care about my citizens in my community. And right now, health and safety are my two biggest concerns. The gauntlet of death, as we call 53, going into Joliet, I think about the kids and their school buses going that way. My nephews that had to drive through that. And I only think of it getting worse and worse for future kids. Environmentally, I grew up on Jackson Creek, and yes, I said creek, not creek, that's what we call it out there. Worried about the concerns of the runoff, going through 3 other neighborhoods. What is this gonna do to this community? One of you, or a board member, a council member, I'm sorry, got a hold of you and said this is very similar to when he grew up in Mokina. I work at Lincoln Way. Mokina, sprawling neighborhood developments, retail developments, professional buildings. This proposal is nothing like Mokina. This is something unique to this country, basically, the world's biggest inland port. And like we just said, do we need it yet? If Center Point still has that much land available? Are we jumping ahead and not doing our traffic studies? Not doing our full environmental studies? Why are we being rushed to do this? I say vote no to North Point. Thank you.
Thank you.
That concludes the interested party section. Next, we'll move on to the public speakers. Stacy Myers.
And public speakers do not need to be sworn in.
You can state your name and your address, please, for the record.
My name is Stacy Myers. I'm Senior Counsel with Open Lands, and good evening. Hopefully you all can hear me. Open Lands urges members of the Joliet City Council to vote no to resolutions that would authorize annexation and development agreements, certain annexation and rezoning of property for this 2,300-acre phase of North Point industrial development. I incorporate the testimony that I emailed to this council yesterday into the record, and am here to highlight certain points. This council needs to explicitly clarify tonight what it is doing with respect to actions it took 1 year ago. The status of land that this council previously voted upon to be annexed and rezoned is unclear, as is what in total would be annexed and rezoned if the City of Joliet Council approved resolutions before it now. It is also unclear whether this body considers previous special use permits and variations to be contrary to the restated and amended annexation agreement, such that tonight's actions would repeal those permits and variations, or whether the intent for these uses is to still be built as previously approved, just without clarification and public knowledge prior to zoning approval. Either way, the proposed annexation and rezoning is still flawed. Joliet still cannot rezone beyond what it has jurisdiction to reach. This has been confused with annexation agreement problems. They're different. Previously, zoning extended beyond what Joliet could annex when parcels only touch corners, if the only annexation for the whole project is what is in the current resolution, 6 parcels. That means zoning south of Manhattan Road has the same problem again. This project relies upon the wrong zoning. North Point is not a clean and quiet industrial facility that is a light I-1 industrial, but a large logistics park that fits in a description of a category under the IT classification. At the very least, North Point needs to be rezoned as a heavier use. This is important because your ordinance requires protections and much more information to consider with heavier uses. The annexation and development agreement overlooks ordinance requirements that Eastgate must submit a petition for a special use permit for parcels in the Cedar Creek and Jackson Creek protection areas. Jackson Creek and Cedar Creek flow through several parcels under consideration tonight. The Joliet Plan Commission has to review and approve the petition for such permits. Eastgate did not submit any petition, and the city never held a public hearing on it. These restrictions are important, so developments, roads, and discharges of runoff from the 2,200-plus acre facility don't underwhelm and degrade Jackson Cedar Creek and flood neighboring homes and agricultural fields. Since special use permits are required, proposed rezoning is improper. The I-1 light industrial zoning classification prohibits special uses and variations. The Joliet zoning ordinance only allows I-1 light industrial districts to include uses not otherwise required to have a special permit. It's in your ordinance. Studies contradict the assumption that North Point will not worsen traffic problems. I keep hearing this. North Point is in the wrong place. Citing warehousing correctly would result in trucks moving along pre-existing solutions such as the Hobart Road Bridge. We cannot afford to further break things in the name of fixing them. Whether it's 6,000 or 16,000 trucks, North Point will bring more into the area, wearing roads that were never intended for the additional load much farther away.
Thank you, ma'am. You're at the 4-minute mark.
I certainly hope that you all have read and considered our testimony. on numerous points. Thank you very much. We urge you to vote no based on many, many problems with this project.
Thank you.
Robert Fioretti.
Name and address for the record, please.
My name is Bob Fioretti. I represent the plaintiffs in 2 lawsuits here. And it's 311 South Wacker Drive, Chicago, Illinois. First of all, Mr. Mayor, thank you, members of the council, city clerk, for allowing me to address you. This project has been ongoing for 4 years, despite the fact of ongoing objections, not only from residents outside of Joliet, but from residents inside Joliet. And when we look at what is needed here, Joliet needs and should respect the interests of the people of this county. But this is going to change the landscape of the county of Will forever, if we look at what the project has been. I heard earlier in the discussion that traffic studies are really meant to be on a certain point. Well, it's time for another traffic study. Traffic studies show planning, they show what traffic can be, what needs should be. In addition, we should have corridor studies because of the overwhelming large approach of what happens here. And we need safety studies of what this project will do. Where does the traffic study show the access for safety vehicles, the first responders that are necessary at this point? You know, I am somewhat saying that this is all premature to be here. The lack of studies, the due diligence that is necessary to pass on a project of this size. I think it was Thomas Jefferson that once said, information is the currency of democracy, and that is what is lacking here. We don't have proper planning, we don't have appropriate studies, and we don't have cooperation with any of the other governmental units outside of Joliet, which is essential. As you know, one of the lawsuits that were brought within the last week was the denial of the FOIA. And then all of a sudden, before we walked into court that morning, we were given a study. But really, the study was inappropriate, it was dated, and it doesn't even affect this additional project. You know, the health, safety, and welfare of the citizens of Will County and Joliet are in jeopardy by this project. You've heard it from some of the other people on what can happen with the safety here. You've heard about the health, the impact on the water, and the water table. I do applaud you, and I've been involved in water studies, traffic studies, not affecting this area, but affecting other areas and dealing with the city of Chicago. So I do applaud what you're trying to do to make sure that the residents in 2030 in Joliet will have adequate water. And I do say that the governor signed the right type of proposal here to establish that commission. But when you look at what else is going on here, water is the oil of the future. How will this traffic study, how will this traffic impact here? What will it be done? There have been no attempts really on environmental impact studies. I've been involved in both environmental impact studies and traffic studies here in Will County. I represented the IDOT in a number of road widening cases that were here in Will County in the past. And again, we don't see it, contrary to what we heard from North Point and what they said. But it gives me pause when I see that North Point is on this side of the ribbon and not on the other side of the ribbon. It gives the impression to the people of this city, of this county, that the deal is already done.
Thank you.
I ask for you to make a no vote. I thank you, everyone, and have a good set of holidays.
Thank you, you too.
Mike Adrianson.
Name and address for the record, please.
Mike Adrianson, 15870 Chippewa Lane. So, good evening.
I'm Mike Adrianson, I'm mayor of the Village of Manhattan. And I, last week, submitted my written testimony to everyone, to the council and the mayor. I'm here tonight to formally request that you table this vote. And we believe a project this size and impact, it should be studied more thoroughly and include those of us that will be impacted by this project. Please table tonight's vote and include stakeholders in this process. Thank you.
Thank you.
Gerald Heinrich. Gerald Heinrich.
Name and address for the record, please.
My name is Gerald Heinrich. I live in rural Wilmington area. Excuse me. And I am president of Medewan Talkers Prairie Alliance and the Medewan Interpretive Association.
Go ahead.
Okay. The greater question before this Joliet City Council is, will the City Council give North Point the green light, or will the council hear the cry of the opposition and put a halt to North Point's landscape-changing proposed campus business park, Eastgate Logistic Park? Ultimately, the final decision has to do about vision. How will the greater area south of I-80 look 20, 40, or 80 years from now? On one hand, there are those that believe we need more warehouses, need more low-paying jobs, and are willing to accept more and more traffic and congestion on our local roads and highways, all in exchange for more tax revenue. On the other hand, there are those, including the Medewan Alliance, that envision a landscape of rural communities, farms, green open space, rivers and streams, and national entities such as Medewan National Talkers Prairie and Abraham Lincoln National Cemetery coexist and provide support and respect for one another. Instead of more and more warehouses, envision promote a region where visitors come from far and wide to come to an area called the Greater Prairie Parklands of Illinois, a region that offers approximately 60 square miles of green open space, parklands, and recreational destination. Imagine a large brown sign on I-55 and I-80 that reads, "Visit the Prairie Parklands of Illinois." Indeed, the region south of I-80 has much to offer, including Medewan National Talkers Prairie, Abraham Lincoln National Cemetery, Kankakee State Park, Shanahan State Park, Goose Lake, Des Plaines Conservation Area, Mazonia, Grant Creek, Hitz Siding, and numerous Will County parks and preserves, including the Des Plaines River, DuPage River, Kankakee River, and trails like Waponzie and the I&M. Try to see the positive value of creating a nationally recognized region in our area that I refer to as the Prairie Parklands. Working together, we can fulfill this vision, but only if the area south of I-80 is protected from an expanding plague of more houses and more warehouse developments. As president of the Medewan Alliance, I am not necessarily opposed to warehouses and warehouse developments, as long as the warehouse developments are sited in an appropriate location, having direct access onto an interstate highway and at a location that would minimally impact local roads, local highways, and existing rural communities. In a recent polite email response to one of my associates, Mayor Odekirk provided, "I have no idea why this," referring to intermodal roads and infrastructure, "wasn't addressed 20 years ago when the intermodal started being built." With due respect for Mayor Odekirk, his self-professed lack of knowledge about what transpired more than 20 years ago regarding the Centerpoint Elwood Intermodal Complex does not provide him with an excuse for not having made at least a cursory attempt to better understand the consensus building process that ultimately led to the creation of the Elwood Intermodal Complex. For anyone interested, the answer lies in the action and records of a 24-member Joliet Arsenal City Planning Commission, a commission that worked, negotiated, and compromised in an effort to create a Joliet Arsenal redevelopment plan, a plan that would provide guidance and pave the way for passage of an act of Congress, commonly referred to as the Illinois Land Conservation Act of 1995. So who were these 24 commissioners? They were state senators, state representatives, U.S. congressmen, presidents of all of our villages, and so on. And one of those
Thank you, sir.
happened to be the mayor.
Thank you. Comments are done. Have a seat, please.
Michelle Peterson.
Name and address for the record, please.
My name is Michelle Peterson. I'm here speaking as a concerned resident, taxpayer, and a member of the public that would be negatively impacted. I urge you to vote no to the proposition that's in front of you tonight. Public safety should be the #1 concern of all elected officials. This development has not proven to be safe for the public or the environment. There are no traffic impact studies, no environmental studies. Why? I believe we all know why. The studies would undoubtedly show that it would be a complete disaster to the area. It's the only reason not to have any studies. I believe you all know that. You're choosing to turn a blind eye to the facts. If it would show otherwise, I believe that you would have them in front of you tonight, but you don't. Protect the public and environment, insist on the proper studies to be completed. As an elected official, it's imperative to have proper studies to make an informed and well thought out decision regarding any development, especially one of this magnitude. It's a monster ready to gobble up precious American farmland and spit it out as a foreign concrete commerce jungle gone wild on steroids. Remember, there's only so much land in America. Once it's gone, it's gone. You can't make it. It's a precious resource that we really need to highly protect for future generations. Developments like this need to be near the interstate to mitigate the cost to the taxpayer. It's a tax burden to Joliet residents, several townships, Will County, villages, and their taxpayers near the development. Road repairs, bridge repairs, hiring public works, police, fire, equipment, buildings, cost the taxpayer money, a lot of money. More than will ever be realized by Compass Business Park revenue. Joliet has a huge amount of impending unfunded pension debt, more than Chicago, as stated at last year's budget meeting. This only adds to that debt, leaving Joliet taxpayers holding the bag again. I believe you all know this. You're very smart. Be the representative who protects their resources and their constituents. Protect historic Route 66. People come from all over the world to see her. It will certainly destroy the ambiance. Protect Midewin, our national prairie treasure. Protect American Lincoln National Cemetery. More logistics is not what we need. Protect our rich, fertile farmland in the middle of Will County. It's our largest export in America, and it's proudly made in America. Most taxing bodies have resolutions against this. Have you asked them why? If not, why didn't you ask? Why not? Taxpayers are taxed out in Illinois. Tired of paying for the big companies to come in, ruin our land, ruin our roads, bridges on our dime. We pay, we fix. Centerpoint has at least taken on the challenge to try to help the situation with the Hobolt Bridge. More money thrown into a situation that North Point will aid in destroying if you allow them. The taxpayer, again, holds the bag. What makes North Point special? No studies, no hesitation, no cares for your constituents. It sure makes a lot of taxpayers wonder why, big time. Insist on what you know is right and what makes sense. Don't just be a yes, anyone can do that. Be one who insists on proper studies to protect the public and environment.
Thank you.
Be the one who knows the facts. Say no until you know all the facts.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dominic Orlando. Dominic Orlando.
Good afternoon. My name's Dominic Orlando. I live at 1010 Kelly Avenue, Joliet. Several years ago, I had the privilege of being appointed to the Plan Commission. During that time, 2 parcels of this project were brought before us. First, the Smith Farm, 138 acres, and second, the 331 acres behind the Smith Farm. Both are adjacent to the Cedar Creek subdivision, which was annexed into Joliet, and the residents belong to the city of Joliet. When the first phase of Cedar Creek was developed, it was under the Southeast Side Comprehensive Plan of March 6, 2007. Ordinance number 15819. This is the reason I voted to deny both parcels, because of the ordinance. This whole area was designed to be residential and commercial, and the new residents bought homes with the future plan of a complete subdivision. Even a fire station was built on Laraway Road to serve this development, and also the 2 racetracks. Zoning laws and codes came into effect many years ago for all U.S. cities to protect the city and also the residents, to control commercial and industrial developments so they could be separated. This is not the case for Cedar Creek, which will be surrounded by North Point. The area I grew up in on the east side is a perfect example of zoning law protection, that being Collins Street. At one time, it was a hodgepodge of mixed industrial, commercial, and residential. Zoning law protection advanced to protect this from happening in the future. Another example is the Glenwood subdivision. There will never be a 7-Eleven convenience store in the middle or surrounding this area due to zoning laws. The city of Joliet violated their own zoning laws and codes in ordinance 15819 by annexing the 2 parcels of property adjacent to Cedar Creek. It is your duty to enforce, and it is the council's duty to enforce and protect the zoning laws and codes that were established by the city of Joliet years ago. And also, I'd like to find out, has the ordinance 15819, has it ever been rescinded yet? Does anyone know? Would the city clerk know maybe? Or can you find out the information?
What is the ordinance number?
Excuse me?
Give them the ordinance number.
The ordinance number is 15819. I'd like to find out if it's been rescinded, because it was under the Southeast Side Development Plan. And also, with the council's permission, I have a question for Mr. George. Is that okay? Ask the question?
No, it's public comment. Make your comment, please.
Huh?
This is public comment. Make your comment, please.
Can I make a comment to him?
Make a comment, sure.
Yeah, I can make an answer. Mr. George, on November 10th, we had a meeting at Knoll Park, and I asked you about cross-docking, but you evaded the answer. And also, my second question was, what happens if North Point cannot secure permits necessary to build the bridges? Your answer to me was, that could be painful. I was wondering if you can add to that statement for me.
Thank you. Your comment's done. Thank you.
You don't have an answer for it?
Take a seat, please.
Oh, thank you for your clouded answer.
Ronald Adamski. Ronald Adamski.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. My name is Ron Adamski. I'm a Manhattan resident, village trustee, and co-founder of Stop North Point. For clarity, I am not speaking in any official capacity tonight representing the village of Manhattan. I speak as a citizen of Manhattan and Will County. Tonight, as in the past, you will hear or have heard from so many passionate, knowledgeable, and data-driven speakers. Those speakers, information together, bring the power of collective wisdom to make better informed decisions. From this collective knowledge, I have learned about a lack of important information being available tonight, and that gives me real concerns. When required information is not completed, like traffic studies and traffic information sharing, that will affect Manhattan and Will County as a whole, how can an informed decision be made? One issue before you tonight is incomplete traffic studies. The current drafts available on truck trips and automobile trips will affect our infrastructure. I read from draft information, automobiles alone, not counting trucks, can reach as high as 40,000 at the project build-out. Many of those will travel through Manhattan. My eyes are bad here. Many will travel through Manhattan. Please correct me if I'm wrong. These are very concerning numbers. Of course, there's other, like everybody's mentioning, right? The collective wisdom about all the other studies and information. Another issue is the high possibility that more additional parcels can be added to this project on the Manhattan side. Or anywhere else, right, the way that's written. I am very concerned on the effects of this project will have on Manhattan and Will County as a whole. Is Manhattan on the information exchange list receiving the information needed to make an informed decision for their future? I just want to go on record saying that I have many questions and concerns on the impacts a project this size will have on our future. I am paying attention, but making informed decisions has made very difficult without disclosed information. I ask that you delay your vote tonight and ensure all available data like the traffic study is available. Thank you for your time. Remember, we are neighbors, and let's be better neighbors tonight, together. I think that's about it. Merry Christmas. Thank you for listening to me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Christina Samet.
Hi, name and address, please.
Christina Samet from Jackson Township. Can I ask a question of the petitioner, Mr. Regis? Can I ask a question?
Maybe it's public comment. Make your comment, please.
Understood. Okay, so Tom, George, I'm gonna have to speak for you because they won't let me talk to you. So at a meeting with the community on November 13th, you said, quote, Laraway Road is a free back door for trucks from the intermodals to get onto Route 53. And my question to you was going to be, is this correct that the warehouses which are proposed today for the 500 acres to the west side of 53, will they have access to that back door? And the answer is yes, they will. I'm sorry, I have to answer for you. The North Point's so-called phase 1 will be built before the bridges exist, and the trucks will have direct access to 53 via Laraway. In this agreement, North Point can build 4.2 million square feet of warehouses before the closed loop is constructed. This loophole that did not exist in the previous agreement that you voted on last December is a real concern for all of the citizens, and I think for this reason alone, you should vote no against this proposal. My second comment is regarding also the west side of the park, the new 500 acres. The Joliet zoning ordinance defines a planned unit development as the design of large-scale projects that promotes good site planning, better design provisions for open spaces, and a higher standard for light and air. North Point proposed a planned unit development for the subdivisions on the east side of the park, so logically they should offer the same standard for the west side of the park. The proposal literally surrounds the houses on Millsdale Road and Knoll Road. It's my opinion that all of Compass Business Park should be a planned unit development, but at the very least, please
require that the developer do this for those people living immediately adjacent to Compass Business Park west of 53. My third point is about eminent domain and condemnation. I believe the language in regards to eminent domain and condemnation should be stricken from the agreement. This agreement obligates the city of Joliet to perform eminent domain and condemnation on the behalf of North Point. Eminent domain is really just a euphemism for taking someone's property against their will and should only be used when it serves the public interest. If North Point would like to make a case that using eminent domain for their project somehow benefits society, this should be done on a case-by-case basis and not be included in an annexation agreement. The agreement handcuffs Joliet into using eminent domain for North Point's benefit and could possibly leave the city of Joliet open to lawsuits if they refuse to do this in the future. We know North Point has a track record of suing municipalities when they believe that they didn't get what was promised to them in an annexation agreement. I believe the proposal should be rejected until all language referring to eminent domain and condemnation is stricken. Finally, would like to make a comment in regards to Mr. Osterberger's testimony earlier about the traffic impact study. The last traffic study that Kimberly Horn performed for the entire proposal was in 2017. It's been 4 years and they haven't been able to update the traffic study to reflect the current proposal. So I believe it's disingenuous to say that somehow Kimberly Horn is going to be performing traffic impact studies every 3 years when they weren't able to even come up with a single one in 4 years. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dave Harris.
Hello, my name is David Harris. I'm here to ask you to vote no for this for many reasons we've heard from many people tonight. Personally, I don't need a traffic study, and I don't mean to get excited. I'm not trying to yell at anybody here, so if I do, I apologize, but I'm passionate about this. And I'm not blaming the city of Joliet for all the problems we have. I blame all the mistakes that have been made at all the communities around here with all these buildings being built without Interstate 80 being addressed, which we all know is a problem. I don't need a traffic study to tell me that Interstate 80 has been way overloaded for way more than 10 years now, way more. Even if there was no traffic study, if everything they're proposing was great and the closed loop of traffic worked and it lessened traffic off of 53 and the surrounding roads, if it worked, which I doubt that will, but say it did. Their plan is to put a super highway for all these vehicles and trucks onto the new Humboldt Road onto where? Interstate 80. Come on now. I mean, I'm not trying to insult anybody, but you got a interstate built in 1964, has never been updated, was never meant for anything of the world's largest inland shipping hub to handle this kind of traffic, what's already in place, and we're talking about adding more to it. I don't understand that. It doesn't make any sense to me. I don't see how that makes any sense to anybody. I mean, timing is everything. Maybe there's a time for this. It's not your fault people are clicking on their buttons to buy material. That's why there's a need for these warehouses. But if you vote yes to these things, you contribute to this. Now is not the time to build more of this. We've all heard plans of Interstate 80, which I know is not Joliet's problem alone, it's an interstate. But you vote yes, you contribute to the traffic on this problem. How are they gonna make the repairs on 80 after all this traffic's already added? That doesn't even make sense, to do this first and then try to do 80. There's been a plan, a 5-year plan or multi-year plan to add a third lane to Interstate 80. Come on, we're way past the need for a third lane, much less 10, 20, 30, 40, 50,000 more vehicles on this closed loop speeding down Humboldt Road to get where? To Interstate 80. North Point said the majority of these products are gonna move east. That's a fact. Where are they gonna go? Humboldt, east, through Joliet. Timing, why not postpone? I'm a union carpenter, we like work. I've heard many union members up here not for this, not supporting this. Yeah, we get a little bit of work out of this till they're done, but once they're done, we don't get work out of this. Yeah, they got a maintenance agreement for a few people to perform maintenance. Think of the work we would get to redo a 4, 5, 6 lane Interstate 80 all the way through Will County, what needs done. I know it's tough, this area poses higher, it's tougher than other areas because of the bridge, the river, the water treatment plant. But if you want to be the world's biggest inland shipping hub. Along with that comes big decisions, big responsibility. Well, the responsibility to us is an interstate that can handle this, which it can't. There's no way a yes vote should be for this. When the Interstate 80 is done and complete and it's there first, then you look at projects like this. Then you look at doing, I don't, build all you want, they can handle it. When the 80 backs up now, it's not just the people of Elwood and Manhattan. I've seen traffic backed up all the way down Route 6, up Larkin Avenue to Interstate 80 when Interstate 80 is blocked. Backed up McDonough Street to Rayner Avenue to Jefferson. And this is me trying to get from the west side to the east side. There's no way to get to the east side or south side of Joliet when 80's backed up on a daily basis. Again, today on the way to this meeting, crashes on 80, I heard on the radio, just like on the way to the zoning commission meeting. It's nonstop. Please vote no. It's the intelligent decision. We all beg you for that. Thank you.
Alejandro Gutierrez. Alejandro Gutierrez.
You're okay, I'll go ahead.
Alejandro Gutierrez. I'm also a union member since '72, and I've got a few things. One thing is, how many of you sitting up there have taken contributions for campaign or any other things? Raise your hands. Because you see this hat? I'm not Santa Claus, and neither is North Point, but if they're giving you money, they're buying your vote. That's the yes vote that they're gonna want, right? Another thing is, I just heard from some of the warehouse people. I says, how many bathrooms are in a regular warehouse? They says, sometimes 2. I said, well, how many people are in a shift? You see over 100. Center Point or North Point tells us that a household uses more water than what a warehouse does. Yet, if you have a 3-gallon flush toilet and you have 100 employees per shift, if you flush one time, that's 300 gallons, and that's without washing your hands. You wash your hands, that's more water, right? But we don't have any water. One more thing before I get off here is think about, at first I thought warehouses were safe, right? Think about what happened in southern Illinois down there in Edwardsville. How many people got killed with 40-foot walls coming down? And yet, you're putting warehouse all over the place. And if you ever got a big tornado like that, all you can do is, thank you. Thank you.
Tricia Moss.
My name is Tricia Voss from Elwood, Illinois. I have been a resident of the village of Elwood for almost 10 years, and I have lived in Will County for over 30 years. I have been a trustee of the village of Elwood since 2019. Today, I'm expressing my stance on North Point Developers' proposed industrial park as a resident. I will point out the reasons, obvious reasons, why I oppose the project. The supposedly closed loop would not alleviate traffic conditions. Vehicles still have to enter and exit to distribute goods. Employees need to get to and from work. The project would be a detriment to our area, causing negative impacts of 2 of our national treasures, Midday Windtall Grass National Prairie and Abraham Lincoln National Cemetery. It would also cause a burden on our already crumbling infrastructure and crowded roads. I asked North Point on several accounts to answer items from the Will County's Friendly Freight Mobility Plan's future development checklist, but they have never answered them. I sent FOIA requests to the city of Joliet and have come up empty-handed. The answer was no correspondence found regarding the checklist. The checklist has about 52 items covering several areas involving how to make a successful future large freight development. This checklist is an incredible tool to use, but it doesn't appear North Point is willing to use it as a guide as a whole. They say they answered the questions and that they passed with flying colors, but if that were the case, why don't they share their answers? Where are the answers to the questionnaire? What are the plans for some of the items listed? North Point organization has only proved that this project is full of questionable promises, half-truths, and unproven claims. North Point representatives will say that the project is going to bring jobs, therefore residents complain about the traffic it will bring. North Point's response was that jobs are being replaced by machines and that the traffic will actually decrease, not increase. Realistically, either way, traffic will increase because they are building something where farmland mostly stands. Their business representative states that their project will not cause lost trucks, yet they know there is a need to put truck turnarounds for lost trucks. Even the draft traffic study states roads that have truck restrictions may need more police coverage. There is an existing problem. What is the plan? In general, trucks will use their GPS device, most likely not Google Earth, and will seek out the fastest route. Lost trucks is one of the main reasons the National Cemetery has tractor trailers driving over veterans and their loved ones' graves. It's a disgrace. Also, how can you ask your residents to restrict their water use, yet put this proposed industrial park in front of you today? Today, it should be tabled. Where is the study that projects water usage of this proposed park and effects on Joliet's current water usage supply? What is the sewer wastewater plan? In addition, how do you know you are properly handling the watershed sensitive areas? Where are these environmental impact studies for them? Where are the supporting documents of the study for the waterways? Furthermore, remember when the road washed away under the viaduct on Route 53 and I-80? We had a lot of rain. Route 53 traffic will increase with this proposed development. You have storm water issues right now. Fix your infrastructure now. Don't put the cart before the horse. You need plans to support your vote. We have been waiting to see these plans. I told your planning commission in a previous meeting regarding this proposal about the 5 Ps. Proper planning prevents poor performance. The draft of this traffic study does not note any warranted traffic signals. How can that be? How can you have a larger proposed project than Centerpoint? It doesn't make any sense.
Thank you.
Also, take out any proposed structures or proposed.
Take a seat, please. Thank you.
And involve Elwood out of the proposal. Elwood is not responsible for this irresponsible development. Please table this vote.
Paul Bryan.
Unfortunately, he was here, his son-in-law was involved in a car accident, a serious one. He had to leave. He was going to speak on the impact on the Lincoln Cemetery.
Thank you.
Brian Podest.
Hi, my name is Brian Podest. I'm a resident of Will County. Good evening, everybody. I oppose North Point coming into our community on basically on the same reasons that everybody else has spoke on. I feel like they'll harm small business with a lot of the big bucks that come to our area. Mom and pop places get taken over, get beat out by larger entities. The strain on public resources, schools, local areas of population, would other communities be ready to take on the extra people that it would take to man these warehouses in the community? I look at some areas that there could be loss of residential property values with all this industry coming that direction. There's a lot of local farmers, a lot of local farm communities, residential developments that people have paid a lot of money for and invested a lot of their hard-earned years of life just building that establishment and putting such a strain on that infrastructure, it could cause people to back out from spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on homes that wouldn't look so attractive anymore with light pollution, air pollution, and a lot of those factors. So please vote no. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
James Walsh. James Walsh.
Good evening. My name is Jim Walsh. I'm supervisor of Manhattan Township. I live at 25959 South Cedar Road. We came tonight just to let you know that we are not giving up the fight. I know it feels like everything we say, we repeat each other, but we can't help it because it's what's happening to all of us. It's not only destroying our roads and our townships and our villages, it's destroying our way of life. You come to Manhattan and sit there on Route 52, you probably don't know it, but there is just truck after truck, and those are old roads that are not wide, they're narrow, and the traffic is frightful. And I know this is not North Point's fault, because I don't believe they've even built a building yet. But the stuff is there, the infrastructure is not ready. I appreciate so much the union guys being here. I'm a union carpenter myself. Without them, without the union, we'd have nothing. But they should be working on the infrastructure now, not plan to, they can build these buildings later if they have to. But the infrastructure is what has to be done. It just, and I know this gentleman, I believe one of these gentlemen over here said that after 3 million square feet of building or something, so much they would come and talk to the townships in the village. Somebody over there said that. But we've never talked, they've never came to us or the village, not one time to talk about what's gonna happen. And they don't realize that it's already happened to us, and they are just gonna double it and triple it. So I ask you to vote no, table this until we get control of all of this business. Thank you.
Thank you.
Kevin Pamacala.
Hi, go ahead.
Well, my name is Kevin Pamacala, Commander of Stone City VFW, Post 2199. Good evening, Mayor, City Council members, veterans, and the communities that would be impacted. I've lived in Joliet area all my life, except for the 20 years I probably served in the United States Navy. I currently have been a resident in Elwood for the past 20 years. My top priority is to protect Abraham Lincoln National Cemetery. Funeral processions on Route 53 on the way to the cemetery will also run into problems with semi-trucks and cars. They have in the past, and then they will be even a greater problem if North Point is built. North Point really doesn't care about the veterans, the surrounding communities, the environmental impact, the tens of thousands of cars and trucks on the road, impact on residents and businesses. They care about money. They care about themselves. I have asked myself the question, why is the village of Elwood totally against North Point? In my perspective, Center Point turned out to be a bad decision. North Point will turn out to be a bad decision also. Vote no. I think it's also a disgrace for all the veterans that are buried at Abraham Lincoln National Cemetery, especially for those that have died for our country. And the ones that have died for our country will be buried there in the future. Is this how we show our respect to our veterans? There are approximately 58,000 veterans buried now and around 450,000 more when completed. There will also be a disruption of several thousand lives in the area, not to mention the cost to maintain the roads that were not designed to handle semi-truck traffic in Elwood, Manhattan, Joliet, Wilmington, and the surrounding communities. Not to mention, these roads will become more deteriorated. Have there been studies on the cost to maintain the roads in the area in the coming years? I have talked with residents of Joliet. They have no idea what effect this is going to have on the residents. Most don't even know what North Point is. Anyway, that's all I got. Vote no, and that's all I can say.
Thank you.
Julie Freeble? Julie?
Good evening. My name is Julie Fribley. I'm the village administrator for the Village of Elwood. And I'm speaking to you tonight in that capacity. I'm also a resident of the Village of Elwood. The village objects to the City of Joliet's approval of the proposed annexation agreement. The village also objects to the city's continued attempt to treat Elwood's roads as City of Joliet roads. Redacting Elwood's boundaries from the new traffic plan does not cover up the reality that Joliet intends on rewarding the developer for incorporating Elwood's roads into the developer's traffic plans. With or without the contingent traffic plan, the proposed development will cause critical increased heavy truck traffic in and around the village. This will have an impact on the health, welfare, and finances of the village and all of its residents. Consequently, the village requests the City of Joliet decline to enter into the proposed agreement. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak during the public hearing?
Go ahead. Step forward, please. Give your name and address, please.
Good evening. My name's Jim Baltus from Manhattan, Illinois. I'm not gonna say anything different than anybody else has said. The gentleman that spoke about the infrastructure in this area is absolutely right. And he's absolutely right. Let the men and the women of this county build the existing infrastructure before you put anything else on. One point I wanna make, North Point says they're gonna give this city $5 million, correct? Just to give you an idea, Will County Department of Transportation is rebuilding the intersection of Cedar and Laraway Road at a cost of $8 million. So when you add these trucks and you have a crumbling infrastructure, the city of Joliet is gonna be nothing more than an old dog chasing its tail. You'll never catch up. Table this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak during the public hearing?
Good, come forward.
My name's David Harris.
Dave, if you spoke once.
I just have one comment for you guys, and it's not, all I wanted to say is about the timing thing being critical. Obviously, it's all our opinion that this ain't the right time for this. Maybe the city could pursue, everybody talks about the, supply chain right now. That's a big thing in all the news, and you got the infrastructure bill, and they're wanting to hand out money like crazy. Could we look into you guys to push that hardcore, not projects like this, push hardcore for they want to talk supply chain. We're the biggest hub to feed this whole country, right? The largest one.
Thank you.
We need that supply chain and Interstate 80 done first. Push for the money for it to make it happen quick so you can get projects like these rolling, but not yet until you have it.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Mike Guyette, and I live in Jackson Township. A couple years ago, there was a problem on Spangler Road, just east of Ridge Road, where ComEd had nicked one of the gas lines that are running through our neighborhoods. And it took them 28 years to figure out there was a leak there. Granted, they compensated the whole street, they had to dig it up, they took care of us financially. But I talked to the head of the BP Midwest Pipeline, and he said no one has contacted him about moving 5 to 8 miles of pipelines underneath this projected project. And they have federal rights to this, and no local jurisdiction can change it. There has to be engineers that are involved before any project is brought forward through BP and the federal government. The gentleman who's from downtown Chicago told me you cannot put a road, buildings, or parking lot on any part of their system. So if someone will look at the miles that run east to west from Breen, east of Ridge all the way to the station in Manhattan, and there are lines that run north and south between 53 and Ridge. Is there any guarantee that none of these pipes will be nicked? That whole area of Jackson Township could have one water table, we don't know. It could be 100, it could be 2. Is there any guarantee, any promises that this is gonna be taken care of beforehand? Because once you put these buildings up there, who knows how long before it's gonna take them? And every road east of 53 is a one-lane road. Twice last summer, there was a semi stuck on Ridge Road between Schweitzer and Manhattan Road. Will County Sheriff came and I said, aren't you gonna write him a ticket? He says, there are no laws broken here. Semis can drive into a ditch or get caught in a three-point turn. They aren't breaking any laws or jurisdictions or rules. So what guarantee for the trucks that do get lost, that get stuck in our driveways, that are on one-lane road? Spangler Road, just east of Ridge, is 15 feet wide, owned by the city of Joliet. What if one of these trucks come over there and our kids are riding the bikes? There's no guarantee. Someone please look at the problems with these pipelines and the gas lines that have federal jurisdiction over anything. Okay, once you ruin our water tables, you can never give them back. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else? Seeing none, let the record show that the public hearings for both Council Memo 571-21 and Council Memo 572-21 are now closed. So, for Council Memo 571-21, it's a resolution approving the annexation and development agreement for approximately 2,179.296 acres with Eastgate Logistics Park Chicago LLC for Compass Business Park. It's recommended said resolution be adopted. Is there a motion to approve?
So move.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Gavin?
No.
Councilman Guerrero?
I have here no less than 10 emails that came to me today from Joliet residents asking many of the same questions that were brought up tonight with regards to lack of available studies concerning the questions of impacts to the environment, to health, quality of life, safety, feasibility studies, and of course this traffic study that we have heard so much of. I think as of yet, I don't have sufficient answers to any of these questions to feel comfortable allowing such a project to move forward. I would have liked to see the opportunity for the executives here to kind of be able to respond to some of those questions and be able to produce some of those documents for the public here and for ourselves to be able to review. I would say at this time that I can't feel comfortable allowing this project to move forward. And so for that reason, I will have to vote no.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
I'd like to thank everyone who came tonight. Thank any of you or whomever sent me a great number of emails over this last month. And I know it's been stated to me that, yes, I have a responsibility to the residents. That is all of the residents I have a responsibility. Once again, I don't feel anyone has spoke on what the real issue is here. My last vote was yes on this based on the two large rail yards that we have. These two large rail yards have gotten nothing but doubled since our last vote. Our problem is us. We all, you sitting there and me here, have changed our purchasing habits. We all buy now from these containers that were mentioned that are stuck out in the ocean. And the BSNN doesn't care where these warehouses are. They're bringing the product here. Their warehouse in Chicago is full. They have an enormous amount of extra land here, and they're shipping it here regardless. The rail yards are in this location. They got voted in some time ago with the demilitarization of the Joliet Arsenal. Yes, Centerpoint has added warehouse since our last meeting, but there's been more warehouses added outside of this area. I think it was all mentioned by someone from Manhattan about all the trucks coming through 52 heading east to jump on, I'm assuming, 57 and go south. I feel we in Joliet have the best option to protect these roads, to partner with somebody, doesn't have to be North Point, but like that, who has a creative idea of keeping these trucks locked in so they're not going through Manhattan. So they have to get on the toll bridge and get on 80. Yes, I'm sorry, we're behind the times with getting 80 built, but it's not us, it is us because we're all taxpayers in the state. The rail yards have proven that they don't care where the warehouses are. They're bringing the product. They're bringing the product because we demand it. And I don't see our habits changing at all. I feel as we, the city of Joliet, can best contain these trucks by holding the authority over somebody like North Point that would have warehouses here under our control, and I vote yes.
Councilwoman Coleman?
I have to agree with everything Councilman Butter just said. Oh, yes, I do, because, and he's absolutely correct. If you've seen the BNS railroads, which is just west of Elwood.
Excuse me, sir. Thank you. Go ahead, Councilwoman.
Just west of Elwood, they just keep doubling it, and they close their facility in Roselle. That's why there's more trucks down here. If we do nothing now, if we do nothing, they're gonna go everywhere. They don't care. The trucks will go everywhere. If we can get some type of control here and help with I-80 and push for the infrastructure for there with the monies that are available through the federal government, because that is a state road, we have to do something. So if we don't do anything and they run amok, you'll be blaming us for that. Well, why didn't you do something? So therefore, I agree with everything Councilman Mudron said. Thank you for your comments. This is a hard decision for me to make, but I'm gonna have to vote aye.
Councilwoman Reardon?
Aye.
Councilman Clement?
Yeah, I want to sincerely thank everybody that has made comments, emails, phone calls, in-person comments. I respect what everybody here has said on both sides. Just last Wednesday, I visited the closed loop, and I did not see the traffic. Everything was clean. There was no garbage. What I learned is they can take 3 trucks and take 2 and put it into one. They hand pack them. I was very impressed with what I saw there. I think that
You say you visited the closed loop. I think you misspoke.
You mean in Kansas?
Kansas City.
Kansas City, I'm sorry, Kansas City. So what I saw, I was very impressed. And I believe this is a great project for Joliet, and we need to be committed to be good neighbors, and I vote yes.
Motion carried 6-2. Next is Council Memo 572-21, a resolution approving the annexation agreement for 117.36 acres with Wackle Limited Partnership. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Guerrero?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudron?
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon?
Aye.
Councilman Clement?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin? Aye. Motion carried. Council memos 574-21, 575-21, 576-21, and 577-21 were previously approved. So next will be Council Memo 578-21. It's an ordinance approving the annexation of certain contiguous parcels subject to annexation and development agreement with Eastgate Logistics Park Chicago for Compass Business Park. It's recommended said ordinance be adopted. Is there a motion?
So move.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Hug,
Aye.
Councilman Morris,
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin,
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman,
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon,
Aye.
Councilman Clement,
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin,
No.
Councilman Guerrero.
No.
Motion carried 6-2. Council Memo 579-21, an ordinance approving and affirming the zoning classification to I-1 light industrial zoning of all properties subject to the annexation and development agreement with Eastgate Logistics Park Chicago LLC for Compass Business Park within the municipal boundaries of Joliet. It's recommended that ordinance be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Morris,
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin,
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman,
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Clement,
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin,
No.
Councilman Guerrero,
No.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Motion carried 6-2. Council Memo 580-21, an ordinance approving the annexation of 117.36 acres, subject to an annexation agreement with Waco Limited Partnership. It's recommended said ordinance be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Mudrin,
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman,
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon,
Aye.
Councilman Clement,
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin,
Krista, could you read that again for me? Your mic sort of faded out.
Sure, it's Council Memo 580-21, which is an ordinance approving the annexation of 117.36 acres, subject to an annexation agreement with Waco Limited Partnership.
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero,
Aye.
Councilman Hug,
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Motion carried. Next is Council Memo 581-21, an ordinance approving a zoning classification of 117.36 acres to I-1 light industrial zoning. It's recommended said ordinance be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Quillman,
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon,
Aye.
Councilman Clement,
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin,
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero,
Aye.
Councilman Hug,
Aye.
Councilman Morris,
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Motion carried. Under resolutions, Council Memo 583-21, a resolution approving a cable television franchise agreement between the City of Joliet and Comcast. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Reardon,
Aye.
Councilman Clement,
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin,
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero.
Sorry. Where are we at?
That's okay. It's franchise agreement between the city and Comcast.
Aye.
Councilman Hug,
Aye.
Councilman Morris,
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin,
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 584-21, a resolution approving an amendment to the economic incentive agreement with CarMax Auto Superstores. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
Krista, before the vote, I see that they're breaking ground on that site. It's a very exciting project. It's good to see them moving forward. Thank you, staff, for working with them.
Is there a motion to approve
So
council?
moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve Council Memo 584-21, a resolution approving an amendment to the economic incentive agreement with CarMax Auto Superstores. Councilman Clement,
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin,
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero,
Aye.
Councilman Hug,
Aye.
Councilman Morris,
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Motion carried. Next is Council Memo 585-21, a resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into a paratransit local share agreement with PACE and to apply for grant funds available under Title 20 of the Social Security Act. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Clement.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 586-21, a resolution authorizing approval and execution of an employment agreement for the position of city manager with James V. Caparelli. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Guerrero.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
No.
Councilman Clement.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
No.
Motion carried 6-2. Next is the city manager's report.
I just very quickly, it's been a long evening. I appreciated everyone that came out tonight, and I appreciate the council approving my contract. So thank you very much, and that will conclude my remarks for this evening.
New business not for final action or recommendation.
Caesar?
Yes, quickly, unfortunately. What do we need to do to get a refund back to Plainfield schools when they were charged for services that other high schools aren't charged for? I'm sure that was an honest mistake. What do we need to do?
Well, that was a contract that we had entered into, so we need to bring that back to the city council.
Okay, we're at the end of the budget year, so, I mean, is there gonna be a problem
No, there's
legally if we go into the first of the year and do it?
No.
All right, who's going to bring this to the council? Who's gonna construct it? Do I have to do it myself?
We can get somebody on staff to put together a resolution for you.
Right, I had asked about that, right, a
So
while back.
We'll
Yeah,
get
that-
a resolution put on the agenda for you, if that's.
I'd like to see it for the first meeting in January, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
Jim?
No.
Jerry? Nothing.
Next is public comments. First,
Excuse me.
Oh,
I
sorry.
apologize.
Sorry about
I'm
that.
sorry. Yeah, under new business, not for consideration. A few months back, the VOA came with a project, for, Hope Manor that is located over on this Silver Cross property. I understand from that, meeting that it was approved, unanimously. So I would like, to enter this into new business, to have the VOA and their team come before the council and present their project, for the council and for our residents, to get, and be able to ask questions about it. So that's my, new business piece. The other piece that I have is that can we have someone really look at the street lights on Woodruff Road? It seems like if the wind blows too high, all of the lights, street lights along Woodruff Road, and most of you know, that has to be the darkest street in the city. So I just want to put that out there as well. Thank you.
Did the VOA project go to committee? I wasn't aware of that.
It had gone to the planning commission.
It did pass the planning commission?
Yes, it did.
All right, it should be brought forward then.
Next is public comments. First is Robert Webb. I don't believe he's here. We'll move on to the next one. Robin Anderson.
I can't.
Hi, hello. How are you guys doing today since the last October that I sent you? I was here, and I'm just gonna cut to the point, because that 4 minutes really come quick. I'm gonna read a letter that her father wrote I'm here for justice for my daughter, and I'm not gonna stop, and you're never gonna get rid of me. And I will be here next year, the year after next, after and over and over and over again. Okay, the Joliet the Police Department need to be held accountable for their lack of not doing a proper investigation of my daughter, Raven Littlejohn. I feel the same. There was no evidence collected, no clothes, no shoes, no shirt, no pipe with the lethal drug in it. Nothing, just a straight inhaler next to her naked body. Her state ID laying on the bed, neatly placed on the dresser. They interviewed two people, Jasmine and Kenneth. The caller, the resident, and the suspects, and the rapist. And he also called for a rape kit. They didn't analyze it. They did nothing. So you see, there was more questions than there could have been asked, but there was no concern. The Joliet Police Department just didn't give a damn, and they didn't. And then, I'm gonna stop reading this letter because you only give me 4 minutes. This is what I got of the last property, which Detective Cagle was supposed to meet me and give it to me. Here it is. This is all that I got from my daughter out of that crime scene. And you tell me no foul play. You tell me accidental cocaine and fentanyl overdose. A brawl. She's laying there in a man's bed, butt naked, legs wide open, and you say no foul play. They didn't walk into that crime scene and sniff out cocaine and fentanyl in her blood. There need to be an investigation. They investigated nothing. The coroner closed the case. I demand investigation. Y'all can't tell me that the taxpayers, which is y'all constituents, is paying their salary. And they are that stupid. They're not stupid, that's malice. That's neglect. That is, I just don't give a damn. This is black, this is over there. And then you call yourselves this criminal, this felon. He lives in a Will County Housing Authority. And then you try to tell me that you evicted him on October the 3rd, that weekend. You evicted him. You didn't evict him. You relocated him to the other senior citizens home on Stryker. And all these people are paying taxpaying dollars for this to live. Then we got all the people and the bodies being found in the Des Plaines River. And it's all tied to that 419 bluff. And you're not investigating any black deaths, none. I ain't going nowhere. I ain't going nowhere. I ain't gonna stop. I will be here. I will be here all the time. I will do whatever I gotta do. Because guess what? I do know one thing. Ain't no limit of statute on murder. And my daughter was murdered. She might have died of that cocaine and fentanyl and cocaine overdose. It wasn't accidental. You're not gonna tell me that the only property that I get from my daughter from this crime scene is a blue bra and the coroner cut it off of her. This is all I got, her last being. Detective Cagle was gonna meet me to give me this. He didn't. I had to go through so many channels just to get this. And I get my daughter's last things of her life in a lunch bag and a blue bra. Come on. I demand investigation. I want one. Y'all need to do something. There is a serial killer here in Illinois, in Joliet. Y'all need to do something.
Doris Jones.
Takes a long time to get up here. Good evening. I just want you to look at this. It says suspects. 911 caller. They was at the scene. And it's 9:15. I've been here since 6:30. So mine ain't gonna be long either. I'm Raven's godmother. I'm gonna piggyback on what Robin said about Raven. That, yes, there needs to be an investigation. And these are the people. The place is Bluff, apartment 40? 36, okay. But something really needs to be done. We have to open an investigation. Okay, y'all take a minute. If it was your daughter, I'm pretty sure y'all wouldn't let it go like this. And this is the police department that's supposed to protect and serve our communities. I don't have the poster right now. I know everybody ready to go home. But I do have the police officers that was at the scene, the badge numbers. There was no, these people showed back up at the crime. And a 911 caller, why wasn't they arrested, taken for questioning? Nothing. We have the police report, but this is foul play. Simple as that. And you're gonna see me all the time also, when she's not here. Because, I mean, we all grown here. Everybody know when it's a foul play or something. Please, I'm begging you to open this case back up, because we have bad officers, good officers, in between officers, call it what you want to. But this is a murder, and it could be a serial killer. Who knows? Who's checking on what's going on? So I ask you guys, stop focusing on fentanyl and cocaine when somebody overdosed. That's somebody's child, daughter, sister, brother. Could have been your daughter, could have been your son, could have been your daughter. So this should be an open investigation. Take a look at everything. Where's her stuff? Why's these people? Turn around. Why's these people? Come on. Why they wasn't taken down for questioning? She made the 911 call, who listened and come back to the crime scene. Ain't never asked for her clothes, ain't never asked for nothing that belongs to my goddaughter. Take a look at these pictures. She's human. I know probably all of y'all got daughters. This needs to be open. Come on, don't be a bad cop. Just be a good cop. Just do the right thing. And I don't know how people sleep when they do stuff like this. It needs to be done. At night, I wake up and it never goes away. This never goes away when justice is not served. Let's serve justice. I know you all was brought up with a good family. They told you right from wrong and what to do. I've been to jail. I've been to the penitentiary. But guess what? It's been 20-some years since I've been there, because I did the right thing. Y'all have a good evening. And God bless y'all.
You too.
Lisa Walters.
Hi, my name is Lisa Walters. This is my nephew, Anthony Dunn. His mother stayed in Arizona, and so I was the last one to stay in contact with him. I know he didn't have any desire to jump in the bridge or commit a kind of suicide because he had money waiting to get on the 19th of January. He used to stand with me, and he was getting his life in order. He went over to that building. People knew that he had money coming. Some kind of way enticed him to, maybe do something, but he ended up in the river. And I know that he's scared of the water. He's scared, he can't swim. And if he ever would try to commit suicide, he would do it because he didn't have money. He had money waiting on him. He had a life that he had changed himself. So here's my sister, she's from Arizona. I had to do everything and have her to stay at home until I found out information. Got no help nowhere, okay? And now here she is. She had to come all the way back today just to come here to say what she's feeling. And it's killing her. It's killing me. I'm her baby sister, and I'm playing the big sister role. So I'll let you talk to her. But yes, you need to check into it. Too many of our black boys and our black daughters are ending up dead on this fentanyl drug, whatever they saying. And I'm knowing most of these kids, and I'm knowing their heart, and I'm knowing they're not suicidal like that. There's somebody out there making sure they get this knockoff drug or whatever, just for the price of the little money. And it does need to be investigated, because it's gonna be more and more body, and how many more it's gonna take.
My name is Minnie Walters Heath. I moved here in '68 at the age of 8 years old, okay? Been living here for 50 years, and I just moved 3 years ago. My son is a very important person to me, okay? I had my sister report my son missing because they wouldn't allow me because I live in Arizona. No one heard from Tony. The last time I spoke to my son was the 6th. Lisa was the 7th. And all the relatives, everything they said was the 7th. Okay? It's on the police report. They gave me Detective Rodriguez, okay? So the van wasn't in. He found it in the building, whatever address that was. That's where my son van was found. Wasn't there before. He has relatives over there. Everybody looking for Tony, couldn't find it. But suddenly it appeared. Guess what? Rodriguez put a note in the window. Put a note in the window. Come get your van from. Come get your keys from the police department. Okay, that's what he did. He missed him. Okay, January 7th. That ain't all. So then, my son's father, he lived in Romeoville at the time. He goes to the van. Doors unlocked. He retrieves a tablet and a cell phone out. Take it to Rodriguez. Rodriguez tells him, "Oh, take it home and see if you could get it. If you could get it online." He tells him, and then bring it back. So, but anyway, we found out who the tablet belonged to. Couldn't get my son's phone open. Okay, that wasn't enough. You know, he told us. Got dates down. He told us that he was going to tow the van to the police station, and that he was going to check the videos. Oh no, did he? That van sat there. It sat there. Didn't do nothing. I'm steady calling them. You know what? Hey, did you do anything? I don't know where to start. How about starting on January the 7th? Oh, no. Look, cousin took pictures of the van. You know what? It's tickets all in the window. But guess what one ticket say? January 7th. The last day anybody saw my son. You know what? Guess what? I have to come and bury my son. Okay? I had to do that. But look, I'm thinking I'm coming to dress my son, give him a funeral or whatever with his money. No. That's him. I was at his funeral home. I said, well, can I at least hold his hand? You know, could you put something up? Let me hold his hand, okay? His wife told me, you can't do that, man. That's something you just don't want to remember. I don't know what day my son died. I don't know anything. All I know is my son did get high. Yes, he did. We knew that. He stopped before. But did he deserve this? That ain't all. Then they switched it over to Detective Kozik or whoever, okay? And so, I'm so happy they switched it so somebody cared. I know, they don't care, you know what he said? When they finally got the toxicology report back, he had a tremendous amount, more than he couldn't believe how much drugs was in it. So are you saying it's a foul play? Well, we can't determine that yet, because we had to get the bank records back. And then, you know, but let me tell you this, I want to get this. I'm a fan, I always look on Mighty Morris, you know, if I'm old now, and don't live there, see you die. But I also read the Joliet pack. Okay? I'm gonna tell you something about Tony. My son been in the newspaper a few times or whatever. He was at that bank. And what they put in there, they said he was causing problems. And my son is a flirt. He'll flirt with anybody. So while he was in there going off, he was flirting with whoever in there. But let me tell you why he was going off, that they didn't put in the pack. He was fussing about his money. He called me and said, "Mom, the bank is stealing my money." Why would you say that, Tony? How the bank stealing your money? My son could count, and he knew what he had, okay? So this sister helped him put it in another bank, okay? But this same security guard, that nobody saw my son, the security guard said, "Hey, I saw him on the 19th. 21st.
Thank you, ma'am.
21st.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's not enough. Black lives matter. Because, see, I'm not going to stop here.
Okay.
You know, I got names. I got dates. And I'm not going to stop here. Okay? He's my son. You know, they got drugs for people who, I'm leaving. They got drugs for people. You know, when they OD, they give them a shot. And they bring them back to life.
But see, this is fentanyl. They throwing black boys in the river. Y'all seen it? Every other day it was a black boy in the river. He was my son, and I'm not gonna let it go. You heard?
Dorothy Bailey?
She left because, but all I want to say is.
Sorry, Krista.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak under public comments?
I'm speaking.
Next is mayor and council comments.
Joe?
I just want to say Merry Christmas to everybody and everybody up here on the council. Thank you.
Put my son's face on your
Betty?
face, okay? 'Cause I go to bed Yes. every night. Mayor, thank you for the opportunity. I just want to, thank all of my family, my friends, everybody who reached out, and wished me a happy birthday, as well as get well wishes as well. Glad to report that things are improving every day. And my prayer is for everybody as we celebrate the birth of Christ at this time, that I wish peace and blessings upon every household in this area in Joliet and the surrounding region. Happy holidays, everybody.
Thank you, Betty. Caesar? Larry? I'd just say to everybody up here, on the dais, to all the staff here, folks that are still remaining behind, our friends from labor in the back there, my family and everyone in Joliet, every Jolietan, fellow Jolietan, I hope you have a happy and blessed Christmas. A merry and blessed Christmas and a happy new year.
Terry?
Yeah, just like to wish everyone, my colleagues as well, city staff, a Merry Christmas and remember the reason for the season.
Pat? Oh, sorry.
No, you good. I'm done.
Pat?
The same thing, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, everyone, and one other note, I was fortunate enough to be in the parade, with the mayor and Jan Quillman, but I got to ride with a police officer, Tom Kopsch, who told me if it wasn't for him and the cadet who put up over 100 signs, nobody would know where the parade went. I said, I think you're a little aboard, Tom, but he was all excited, and it was a good turnout from everybody in the city.
Thank you. Jan?
Again, that parade, I've never seen so much joy and so many faces on that particular day. It made me smile all day. People were lined up. It was cold, but they didn't care. And even along the route, the cars on the other side were stopping for all the fire trucks and the police trucks, and they were rolling their windows down and waving and taking pictures, and it was just a wonderful day. It was just a feel-good day for not only us that participated, but also for the citizens of Joliet. I would want to wish everyone a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Please stay safe. Think your masks, because this Omicron variant is getting everybody. It's hit my house personally, so our Christmas plans will be postponed probably till next year. But anyway, thank you all, and again, be well and stay safe.
Sherry?
I'd just like to mention Sunday, the wonderful time we had at the Rialto with the American Legion Band. My nephew plays the French horn for them, Ken Goldenbecker. And they had the sounds of Christmas. It really got us in the mood. And Merry Christmas to everybody. I hope you all stay healthy and can be with your families.
A couple things. There was a ribbon cutting on December 16th for the Nail Academy at 160 North Chicago. Thank you to the Nail Academy for coming to Joliet. Thank you for the City Center Partnership and the Chamber for putting that event on. Again, Saturday was the Santa send-off parade. As Councilwoman Quillman and Councilman Mudrin said, it was another big success. I'm sure it's something we'll do again next year, so it's probably a new tradition that started in Joliet. But a lot of fun. Thanks to all the police and fire who participated and all our residents who braved the cold to say goodbye to Santa and get it back to the North Pole. And then finally, yesterday, Lion Electric did a walkthrough. I think many council people were out there. I had a chance to see their facility. That, of course, is the electric bus company that's coming to Joliet. That was a nationwide competition. It came down between Joliet and a location in Texas, and we won here. We competed nationally, and we won. So thank you to Lion Electric. They're a Canadian company. It was great to see the progress that they've made. They're hoping to be up and running the assembly line going next year, next summer, or next fall. So it's a very exciting project. And also wish all our residents Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to everyone, and a Happy New Year. to all our residents and our staff. And with that, I'm done. We're back on Monday for the budget. Is that 5:30 or 6:30?
5:30.
5:30 on Monday, and that will be the last meeting of the year, so.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Been motion and seconded to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned.
Bye, Betty.